Why isn't it recording?
You need to.
There we go.
press the
It
record.
was recording. Hello, everyone. This is HJK561 here with Rebel,
No.
Squee,
Yes.
and me. This is the Zcast for Season 4
yeah.
Preseason.
No.
It's been ages. It's been a long time.
It has been a very long time.
We're not going to talk to Rebel because Rebel's being a pain in the ass. So Squee,
Hello.
where do we start? I need to
Well, you have a
Insane.
list. You made
Yeah.
it.
I'm trying to put it
Yeah,
up on my
you
laptop.
made
Bear
it.
with me.
Let's start with the
Rule
rule
changes.
changes for preseason and season 4.
Oh yeah.
Which
Okay.
actually we should probably make those separate because there are some differences.
Yes. Oh yes.
Well, everyone knows the main differences of the preseason by now, I hope, is that in the preseason, as well as the playoffs, but that's a long way off, we will have, every team will have all 5 players. There's no rotations. So it's going to be 5-on-5 for the preseason. But we still have the limit of 2 in effect, so only 2 pataras per teammate, which really stretches you out, makes you really debate who you want to put on who. And I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there that sat there going, "Oh man, I really wish I could put, indignation on one more person."
Yeah, especially for teams like I'm pretty sure the Super Saiyans are like this, and I know Cold is. It's like, right, we're just gonna put indignation on him, and fighting spirit on that one, and oh, son of a bitch! Like, just one more player, and we're good.
Yep. But that's the main thing for preseason. Also for preseason, we have a trial, and I need to make sure everyone understands that this is a trial test of eternal life, because we've been debating eternal life since midway through season 3.
Oh yeah.
And the simple truth is, eternal life is a damn good patara, and we're worried it's too good, especially now that we have 7 points on everyone, which is so amazing. I'm so glad we figured out how to make it so that everyone has the same amount of health. And because I'm sorry, those 2 extra points, if you just say 2 extra points, it doesn't mean much. But now that we've all 3 of us have had a chance to make 7-point builds for the whole team, it changes so much.
It does, yeah.
It really almost opens up so many more doors and possibilities that you never had before.
Yeah. If we still had the 5-point thing in Eternal Life, as I said in the stuff runs, I was all for Eternal Life when we had
Right.
5 points. Just because it's basically all of your build. You have space for one other thing, which, let's be honest, it isn't going to make a massive difference to how things work.
But now that you have basically 3 more points, then 3 points, that's a lot. That's more than half of what you're used to be able to do.
That's a secret measures or something.
So now we're wondering if it's going to work or not, which is why we're putting it on a trial basis. So I urge every team to understand that this is a trial basis, and don't make a build surrounding Eternal Life without some sort of backup in case you don't get to use it in the main season. One of 3 things will happen. Either we'll decide to keep it as is because throughout the preseason, and we'll get plenty of views at it because almost every team is using it at least somewhere, which is exactly what we're a little worried about because it's such a great patara, especially with your 7-point build. Either we'll just let it stay, or we will ban it, or the one other thing we could consider is we could let it stay with an increased point cost. There's no reason why we can't say if you use Eternal Life, it's going to cost you 5 or 6 points.
Yeah. No, that seems reasonable.
So that's one of the 3 things that will happen. But I want to stress to everyone, it's a trial and treat it as such. So it'd be good to have an alternative build for your character just in case you don't get to use it during the regular season. Also, the limitations, because there was some confusion, and a lot of that was our fault because we weren't sure who what. Anyone with healing healing transformations, including people like 13 or who only have they transform once and they get half a bar of light, is still seen as a bit much. Yeah. Any healing transformation, healing B1s, and healing grabs. So no 19, no 20. You can use Dende's healing, but you cannot use Eternal Life.
Yeah. That would just be putting it probably a bit over the top, I think, if it is for healing characters as well. Another patara change that we are going to do is the +1 blue pataras as well. So in the last season it was obviously +2 and then -1 other one. Do you think that the +1 blue pataras will change things? Will it make things less diverse?
Yes.
More diverse?
They've definitely changed things for my team. Like as building my team, it gives me a lot more freedom. It gives me a lot more security in the sense that there's a lot of teams out there, for example, that have, say, 2 people who are really good at B2s. Basically 2 caster class characters. And it used to be last season you had to choose one to increase their blast 2s, and the other one you just either had to maybe increase their charge rate and hope for the best, but in any case you could only help one of them. Now you can help both of them, but you still have to decide which one gets the bigger boost and which one gets the smaller boost.
Yeah.
And basically that's the way I see it, because honestly the -1 has not deterred anyone since it started.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't
Actually,
know. The minus. I think the point with the -1, I think it probably has deterred people, in a sense of, especially with stuff like the attack up 2, defense down 1, and certainly for super +2 and key down 1 as well. It's a reasonable deterrent.
Right.
But there are ways of counteracting it. So you have your latent energies, you have your fighting spirits, you have your indignations and seriouses. So, at the lower healths, it's counteractable.
And which is why because a lot of people ask, why don't you just do like the key +2 at 2 points? And it's for that exact same reason. We want you guys to have to find ways around it. We want you to have to find a build that will mitigate that weakness as much as possible, instead of just saying, oh, I can just put on a +2.
Yeah. The idea behind this is creativity, but not, slightly restricted, so you have to be genuinely creative.
Right.
But not so restrictive you just can't do anything.
Yep,
definitely.
But I do think that it changes. I think it opens up a lot of doors. Really, is what I think adding the +1s does. I don't think we would ever want to add +2s, +3s, anything like that, because then you start getting into way overpowered. Like, could you imagine a Wolf Fang Fist with a +3 super?
Oh yeah. No, that'd be terrible.
But I think it opens a lot more doors with what you can do, because I know there were a lot of teams last season that were almost hamstringed in the sense that, well, I want to build him as a B2 spammer, or like, let's say as a melee character, but I've already used this on someone else, so this at least gives me more options.
I'll still say this. I think I said it when it was first suggested in the Twitter forum. I'm skeptical. I'm still incredibly skeptical about it, but it seems like it could be a reasonable idea.
Well, I mean, it's not. It is a very big change, of course, but it's not. In my opinion, the biggest change is the rotations for this season.
I was actually going to ask you guys, because no one knows the level of spittle and blood that was spilled in the staff forums debating if we should even do this. But now that you guys have had time to digest it and start actually implementing it into play, what do you think of it?
Do you want to go first, Rebel, or should I?
Sure. I think it's definitely an interesting idea, and it definitely, again, the thing we were talking about, forces creativity. It does that, certainly. I'm not entirely convinced of the rotation in and of itself is a great idea. I think actually keeping just 5 people and fighting, if we had the time, would be a better way of doing it, because it forces that greater creativity. But the rotation, you can't rotate the same player out in following games. Not entirely convinced by that one, but it does add an extra level. I'm curious to see, certainly just for this season, or the first several games of this season, how that pans out. I think the actual live test is going to be more telling than anything. I mean, we can theorize as much as we want, but I think it's one of those things that's on the borderline of being something we should just say, right, well, we either do 5 people or 4 people. But it's definitely on the borderline of saying, yes, we should do it, yes, we shouldn't. So I think the coming season will really tell as to how effective that actually is.
HJK?
Well, personally, I love it. I think it's actually it adds a lot to it. I mean, it's obviously very different talking about it now, because the preseason hasn't even started.
Yeah.
Right.
If you develop the rotation, you don't know what team's going to do well. So, but then of course you can always change it. So I was doing mine the other day, and it was just added so much more. You had to kind of think, what could we
Yeah.
expect this team to do? What are other teams in the division going to be fighting against? How easy will their games be?
Yeah.
How difficult will our game be? Should we
Mhm.
rest this player or that player? It adds so much more.
Mm. Well, it also adds an extra element of not only who's our strongest player or who are our strongest players. It adds an element of, okay, what does this team use? So you look at a team like, I don't know, let's just say take Super Saiyans as an example. You take the Super Saiyans and you say, right, the Super Saiyans are going to use supers. So in order to counter, let's just gross generalizations, okay?
Right.
Say Team X, if you prefer, uses supers pretty much exclusively, and their builds are going to be focused as much as they can around using supers. In that case, well, how do we counteract that? We can try and, are our supers as effective or better than theirs? Or do we want to go the melee route and just try and shut them down, stop them from using them? How do we counteract certain players? How do we figure out the strategic part of
And
the
yeah, and if that's
build?
the case, let's say we want to counteract this by being up in their face and meleeing and not giving them a chance to. Who's our weakest melee character, and we should rotate
Yeah.
them out. Right.
Yeah. But it also has an element of, okay, well, let's say that they are super focused, but their melee is not too terrible. Well, how are they going to react to us? What do we think they think we're going to do? It is does add an awful lot to it.
I think the thing that it does of course add a lot in the matches that you're fighting, but I think it makes you think about the rest of the league. In every other season, you didn't need to really bother about the rest, even when there were divisions.
No.
You fought your match the best you could.
Right. The
and
only
you
thing you had to worry
Yeah.
about was the next week's match. That was it.
Yeah.
Because the week after that and the week after that, or what was going on elsewhere in the league, didn't care. Didn't matter.
No, wasn't all that important.
Because you could, like that's one thing I love. And of course, I'm biased because I came up with the idea. But as I implement it, I love it more and more. But right, it last season. Let's say I fought Cold in week 2, and then I was going to fight Super Saiyans in week 3. If it's week 2, I'm not even concerned with the Super Saiyans. I don't care at all because let's say I completely horribly make a bad build in week 2 against Cold, I can completely reset that. So my only any mistakes I make can be fixed before the week 3. So my only concern is week 2. Now I not only have to worry about week 3, I have to worry about week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and what I love too is like HJK was saying, you have to watch the rest of the league because let's say I made a rotation where I rotated my strong guy out during the week of Dragon Ball Warriors. And that's what I said at the beginning of the season because I thought Dragon Ball Warriors weren't going to be great. And then halfway through the season, Dragon Ball Warriors is kicking ass. Well, now I'm like, okay, maybe I really need my strong guy. So now I'm going to have to rearrange my whole rotation schedule, which will be more difficult because I've already rotated some people
Yeah.
to fit this now. And I think that the mechanics it adds to it and what it forces you to do just adds so much more depth to the planning process. And in a way, helps take out the random chance of the league. Not by much, but a little bit. It shifts it more from just the randomness of the league over a little bit more to how well prepared was I.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll never be able to take out the random part of the league. But I can see
Never.
a lot of matches coming down to did I have the right character at the right time?
The only negative I can think of is individual coaches. Will they be able to? I mean, I'm not saying it's coaches are stupid, but it is difficult to understand the first time you're doing it. You have
It is
to kind
true.
of think about a lot of things that you haven't really thought about before, and it
but
kind of
see-
got me a bit.
Now, and see, that's one thing we debate about. I'm actually of the philosophy of I want it that way in the sense that I actually want the teams that are coached better to do better. And a lot of times you can have a team that you can have, like, let's take the Boos, and I'm
A
not
team that's intrinsically stronger than any other.
Exactly,
I think
exactly.
is a better way of putting it.
right, like a team, and I'm not sure the Boos are a good example anyway. So thank you, because I mean, honestly, I don't know Neo Lone Wolf's thought process. So I can't really say if he's a genius or just throwing out random builds. But
Yeah.
right, you can have a team that's intrinsically stronger than other teams that's coached badly but still do well, and a team that has like the Namics, great coach, great team. They try so hard, and for 3 seasons they've gone nowhere.
Yeah.
And if you ever go into their forums, they work like madmen
Yeah.
trying to figure out this team. And I think that this makes it a little bit more. If you put the effort into your team, if you put the effort into understanding how rotation works, your team will do better than the team that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I want that. I want to add that. I know that there's going to be some people that say, I just don't have the time for that. And while I understand that and that's sad, sooner or later, what'll happen is those people will become more of the support and someone
Yeah.
else will step in that can devote that kind of time. And I think that the league would be stronger overall for it. That said, of course, if we end up the season and everyone absolutely hates it beyond a shadow of a doubt, I mean, we'll reconsider.
Yeah.
But I think that, and another thing that we didn't consider, the rotation, as opposed to just having 5 people fight, I like the rotation because it puts on a bigger variety of show. In other words, instead of it being the same team every week, week in, week out, it's different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by hiding, and I love this part, by hiding who rotates when. In other words, like, I'm facing this team. I have no idea who they're rotating out. I have to guess.
Yeah. That's
You have to have that prediction element to it as well.
Yeah. So I was going to cover real quickly for the people who are still trying to grasp the concept of the rotation. We were going to go over the basic mindsets, and as we see it, there's 4 basic mindsets that you could take into this. And of course, these are like Rebel was saying, extreme generalization and simplification. But to give you an idea of how to look at this, there's 4 mindsets you could take into the rotation. The first mindset will probably be the most common and the most popular, which is be at your best when you face the best. And the idea of that is you want to rotate your strongest characters out when you think you're facing the weakest teams, so that you have them when you're facing the strongest team. So when you're facing a team that's strong, you have your best players, and it's less risky to try to rotate them out when you're facing teams that you think are weaker. That's one mindset to have. Another mindset to have is the exact opposite. The idea that you're going to lose some matches, not on purpose, but, you know, give yourself a higher risk of losing certain matches to give yourself a greater overall percentage of wins through the rest of the season. So let's say I'm facing Team Muscle in week 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Team Muscle, I'm really not even sure if at my best I'm going to win this match, you know? So I kind of go the other route of I'm going to rotate out my best player and pretty much assure that I'm going to lose this match. But it means that I'll have my best player in other matches, giving me an increased chance of winning other matches. Some people could see that as a little underhanded, but honestly, I see it as just
Strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, tactics and strategy. So that's the other way you could look at it. The third way you could look at it is...
That's 4th, isn't it? Is that
No,
4th?
No,
That's-
it's just that.
Am I miscounting? I'm
Well,
miscounting. Sorry.
There's 2 more. The fourth... oh, God, thanks, Rebel.
Pleasure.
The third way you could look at it is divisional. When am I facing teams in my division? Because that's one thing that a lot of people have to understand now. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Haha.
Yeah, it doesn't show, does it? I'm
No,
not
it doesn't. Okay. We switched to...
I don't know what you two are doing when you're recording, but it shows it fine when I do it. God.
Whatever.
we switched to his recording. We were having some technical difficulties. So anyway, I was saying that the third mindset that you could have is a big change this season is we have divisional matches. We're playing people in our division this season. And the best way to look at it is this. Let's say Rebel and I are in the same division, Cold and Earth Defenders, and we both play people outside of our division in week 2. We could both win, or we could both lose. And when week 3 comes around, we could be exactly in the same position we were in week 2. But when we play each other in our own division, there's no such thing as that. Someone's going up and someone's going down, which is almost like you win twice or you lose twice, which makes the divisional matches all the more important. So another mindset you could take into it is, how do I get the best team possible during my divisional matches? And the final way of looking at it is basically taking it on a week-by-week basis in the sense of I'm going to analyze team by team. I'm not worried about who's the strongest. I'm not worried about who's the weakest. I'm worried about what does this team do. Is this team a B2 spammer? Is this team melee? And what best way can I rotate my players out so that I'm the most prepared for this team? This one takes probably a bit more effort than the others. I think you guys would agree. Instead of it just well, they're strong, let's rotate this guy out. It's you really have to analyze each and every team. It's also a win big or lose big, because if you guess right, you set yourself up for the great advantage. If you guess wrong, not only do you give yourself a disadvantage for that match, you could screw up your whole rotation schedule. So it definitely, if you're going to do that route, and if you put the effort into it, that could be the best route to go, but you really need to put the effort into it, or you're gonna screw yourself over bad.
Yeah, I think it's probably the least likely to be successful method, actually, just because of other teams are going to be rotating as well. Other teams are going to be thinking differently. Right. So in order to make that one to work, you'd actually have to say, okay, well, what do people consider our strengths to be, and how is this team likely to counteract that? And even then, you've got essentially a 1 in 4 chance of screwing it up.
It's basically, if this was a professional league and we were full-time coaches, this is the method everyone would be using because they have the time to devote to it.
Yeah.
Most people will probably be choosing method 1, maybe method 3. I see some people choosing method 2, but no one likes to lose. No. So while some people may choose it, I don't see it being the most popular. I think 1 or 3 will be.
I think method 2 is actually more likely to be used by one, maybe the stronger teams. Maybe you look at North Kai teams, maybe some of the other Kais, possibly, but also by teams that consider themselves very balanced teams.
Right.
Well, not even middle, actually, but more teams that are considered really balanced. So you could almost say, like, Super Saiyans can say, right then, no matter who we put in, we're going to be fielding a strong team. So let's do what we consider to be the strongest against the weakest people, just to do what we can. But even then, these guys aren't necessarily our strongest unless, they're having a good day or something like that. Could potentially work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, and the thing is, the reason why I think that method 1 will be better is because even if it's not most intelligent, let's say, method 2 is not an unintelligent build or an unintelligent way to look at it, but Dragon Ball Z League is just as much about passion as it is about tactics. And let's say that Muscle's gone 6 matches undefeated, and you're pretty sure you're not going to beat him either. But if you're that one, and you want to be that one, and that's almost more important, because I know there's a lot of teams out there. Say, take team Dragon Ball Warriors. Dragon Ball Warriors did horrible last season. But if you talk to them after Season 3, it didn't sound like it because they kicked Muscle's ass.
Yeah.
And that almost basically made the entire season a success for them because, and don't get me wrong, that was awesome.
No, that was awesome.
That was good.
I don't know. I'd say actually last season a team called nearly beat them. There was like one move in it.
I think it
was actually quite literally one move was actually in it from what I remember.
I don't know. I don't think the Super Saiyans ever beat Muscle.
I don't think they did. I don't think the Super Saiyans.
I think there was a forfeit somewhere.
No, I'm bleeding my ears.
Thanks for that.
All right. So anyway, the point is that the rotations can be a lot of fun if you guys take put effort into it and try and play the game. Basically, it's definitely making it a lot more interactive than it used to be.
Yeah, it's adding a lot of depth, isn't it, and everything.
A lot more entertaining just to see how people react to it. Mm-hmm. Because you could also argue that just sort of putting a pin on it might work.
Oh man, it's gonna make so much content for commentators and for us at the Zcast, because now we can be like, why did they rotate that man? What were they thinking?
What are you doing, you idiots? God.
That's basically what Rebel does all the time, so it's not a massive problem.
Oh yeah, well I kind of have the right to do that. I am better than everybody.
Well, no, you know what? We have the right to do that. We're journalists. I mean, we're technically media. We're the Zcast. We have the right to spread our opinions and expect that people will listen to it.
They have no
Read
choice.
my
We're the
opinions.
only media. That's the problem.
I'm sorry, did I say opinions? I meant facts.
Silly squee.
Get it right. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Authenticated facts.
So, are we skipping to the Q&A section?
No, we're not disobeying the plan again.
Okay.
Not after what happened last.
That's what the gods got angry last time.
Let's not stick to the plan.
Okay. So we'll talk about the 15-week season. That was mainly a logistical change because there's, there was going to be 5 characters.
Well, there were
We
two.
kind of had
There were
to
two
15
changes.
weeks.
Actually, to be honest, it was that was the happy byproduct, because really what made me want to go to 15 weeks and bring it up in the first place was I felt 12 weeks was too short. Season 3 flew by. Okay, now I do say, and this is odd coming from me when I said towards the end I was kind of happy it was over. But on the other hand, Season 3, I mean, we hit the playoffs, and I was like, are we really at the playoffs?
Yeah.
Has it really been 12 weeks? And so I kind of wanted it longer. I kind of wanted the season to last a little bit more. And it just so happened... it just so happened that doing that also fits so much better with the rotation schedules.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
And it gave us divisional matches, which is another plus.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It adds obviously that
Which-
extra.
Probably change up
Strategic
all the fixtures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you got the 7-pointers. Everyone's 7-pointers now. That's a huge change in and of itself.
As soon as that was announced, Cooler just started sulking. He was so angry. He's saying, "You bastard!
I was
Special.
special.
Leave me alone."
You should have told them that we were changing you anyway. We were going to give it to Frieza. No. And actually,
it might be bad, but I want to keep my eyes.
all right.
I don't want to say that.
Basically, I've always hated the fact that we had to limit everyone to 5 points because of the Dende, because of Master Roshi's life and all that stuff. And it occurred to me that I run an emulator, and emulators hack games all the time. That's how they run the darn game. And so I went to the PCX2 forums and I asked, not really expecting to go anywhere with it, like, hey, do you think there's any way, because we mod PC games all the time, it's generally just opening up an INI file and changing some data. And I was like, is there any way to do this? And I wasn't really expecting anything. And someone came back and, I wish I remembered their name. I'm probably going to go look them up because they deserve a big thank you. And they said, yeah, sure, it's easy. Just do this. And I was like, huh? And now he said a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't understand at all. And I remember my actual reply to him was, I understood about 10% of that, but you better believe I'm going to learn. And Derangel worked on it, and I worked on it, and it was great. Derangel came to me one morning all happy, like, I got it to work! And we tried it out, and everyone had 4 bars of health. And, brilliant. And I think it is going to... just really, like, I don't know what to expect now. Normally going after season 3, you could have expectations. Teams change. Just look at season 3 compared to season 2. You realize there's only one team still in North Kai Division
Yeah.
that was in North Kai Division in season 2.
Not cold.
Not cold, that's for sure.
Hi there.
I will say though that only one team made it out of South Kai.
Yeah, that was.
So, but the thing is, we
that
have
was
no.
a team that probably shouldn't have been in.
We have no idea what to expect now, because it's very, very possible that those 2 extra points could transform a bad team into a middle-of-the-road team, or a middle-of-the-road team into a fantastic team.
I don't think we're going to be getting the Super Saiyans going from being kind of crap to actually being able to do anything.
Well, as soon as cold get out of South Kai, it's not a problem.
Look, I'm sorry. It's nice and cold down in South Kai. They like it.
It's not Team Cold. It's really just cooler.
Yeah, pretty much.
Spanish
It's
him.
just cooler sitting there going, "I'm gonna fucking kill you."
So honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited. We don't really know what to expect. And tonight's going to be the most exciting, because the first week of the preseason, which by the way, we're recording this for me, the afternoon of, this evening we're going to be doing week 1 of the preseason. And man, I would just love to see like Dragon Ball Warriors rock someone's socks off, or Derp just amaze people, or Namek. Actually Namek, I am terrified of Namek, but we'll get to them later.
Yeah, exactly. I think we covered plus one blue pataras, covered rotation, so now we can go to the Q&A. We are safe to do so now. Okay, yeah, probably should go over the fact that some of the questions that have been asked have already been answered or will be answered. So Viperkang's question will be answered later, and we have already answered Gamer Junkie's first question. So we'll start with Huzzah for Timeline's questions. He has 3 questions. The first one: how does it feel to be back?
Terrible. I mean, Squeak, you go first.
Don't let me answer.
Wow. Okay, I forgot that we'd already answered this because earlier I said, earlier I did say, which I hadn't said yet. Okay, I guess I'll say it now. Very excited. I'm very, very excited. When season 3 ended, I wasn't burnt out, and like I said, I was just thinking that it was, it could be longer. But I was kind of happy season 3 had come to an end because you put a lot of effort into Dragon Ball Z League. You guys know because you're testers, and you know that testing is a lot of work. And everyone on the staff has to put a lot of effort into it too because you guys out there don't realize, but every few weeks or something.
The stuff forum didn't really shut up for most of it.
No. I'm sitting there throwing out crazy ideas, and everyone's going, "No, Squee, I don't
Shut up,
think
Squee.
No,
I don't think we
no,
should start everyone in transformed states."
Because Squeak, we need to hack the game to give people transformed states.
Yeah, my big problem is and thank God I have a staff, but my big problem is I get too excited about things. I'm like, guys, you know what we should do? We should give everyone Super Saiyan abilities, even if they're Nameks.
Yeah.
No,
And then,
we should not.
Well, actually, I'm kind of against that one just because Cold's better. So
No, but yeah,
huge
so
selection of people to use.
and you throw into all that, and you throw into how much effort I have to put into, every week I have to make builds, which takes an hour to 2 hours every single week. I have to record and commentate and upload and all that stuff. So I was happy the season was coming to a close, and I'm sure at the end of season 4 I'll also be ready for a break. But that break is all I need to get so excited again about the next season. And I think that's a testament to not even really how good of an idea it was, because really this idea is nothing without the number of people who love it as much as I do. Without everyone working on their teams and taking this so seriously and really turning it into a sports league, there's nothing to get excited over. And so it's a testament to how big this has become. And I say big, I mean, there's maybe a few hundred people that watches. And maybe 100 people who are involved. Heavily involved. But even that makes this such a big thing that I can get excited for. Even after a few months, I really want it again.
Yeah.
Rebel, how's it feel to be back? And don't say terrible, otherwise
Fired!
Don't threaten me, HK. I have a bigger empire than you.
we're not going to
no,
end space chat here.
Oh, what?
No.
No, it's good to be back. I'm slightly disappointed just because of my own personal circumstances, whereby college and education and work and stuff, I don't have as much time as I'd like, or as much time as I feel is necessary to devote to it fully. But it's definitely good to be back. It's definitely good to be back. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's since it was announced. I think it was announced a couple of weeks ago when the first preseason match would be. Don't cough while I'm speaking. How dare you?
I'm sorry, not important.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a bit slow for me to get excited about it, but now, I mean, this is the day it's happening. I'm pretty excited. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I can't really say it's not good to be back.
And that was part of the reason.
Closer to the time, you get more excited about how to do it.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason why I kind of rushed things a little bit, because originally the idea was to have a smaller preseason and more time to prepare for the preseason. But I thought about it, and it seemed to work perfectly. People get more excited once the preseason starts, once they feel like it's actually started. And I think that the level of activity we see now will be doubled next week. After preseason 1 is up and all that stuff, and maybe we'll get some new people, and that's what I'm really excited for.
There's already been some new people signing up and stuff.
I know, but we still need so many more. The Gohans have the coach. The Boos have the coach. We need so many more people.
Yeah, active people as well. I think each of the teams has has their fans and stuff, but not
But
actually
they're not active, yeah.
generally active people.
Well, so I'm not sure what does it in because I kind of had muted the thing. But, who do you think is the most dangerous newcomer? Is Hazard Timeline? Second question, and
Me.
I assume he means new player.
My pinky finger.
Squee.
Okay, I'm trying to think of all the newcomers because each team has a new one. I would have to say... See, it's hard for me to judge. I would say Tambourine scares me, and I'll get more into that later. Tambourine does scare me, but it's really hard to see how Tambourine's going to do in the majors. If you watch in the minors, Tambourine is a beast. He is amazing in the minors. I'm very excited to see what he can do in the majors, but there is a reason why people are in the minors and not in the majors. Well, though, that doesn't really fit for Tambourine because he was never considered before. So I'm very excited to see what Tambourine can do. As far as that, I mean, there's other people I'm excited for, but I'd say he's the one to look for.
Yeah.
Watch, he sucks.
Yeah, it'll be really funny when
If they ever throw PyCon into the major league somehow, I think we should all run and hide.
No, I'm cool. I'll just sort of lob Freezer at him and
You just lob freezer at him and run.
yeah. Cooler just gets so pissed off that rather than throwing a death ball, he just throws his brother at him. No.
Try and make yourself into a ball.
Quick.
Go to rape form and get the spikes. I don't know. I don't think there's anyone. There was a reason people either won it in the majors before and haven't been, or are coming back into the majors. I don't think there's anyone I'm genuinely terrified about. Certainly not anybody new I'm genuinely
Right, because they'd already be there.
There's people I'm interested in. I'm interested to see how Bobbity will do back in the margins. I'm interested to see how Tambourine's going to play out. I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. I'm interested actually to see very much how Zangia's going to do for the Valkyries. So that's going to be an entertaining one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
I was going to say, I was thinking about that too, is that a lot of people, when they're choosing their fifth players, like I know when my team was choosing our fifth player, I was actually sitting there, I actually said, none of these people are first round draft picks, but, they're decent, but none of these people are like eye-opening, wow.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm excited to see how people will perform, but apart from that, not hugely concerned. I mean, you never know that something might be, they might be absolutely terrifying. We might have, we might be able to make up a gauntlet team made out of all of these new players, and they'll just take the gauntlet without losing a single person. I think it's unlikely, but you never know. But I think excited more than concerned.
So you don't think Metacooler is dangerous?
Metacooler is brutally dangerous. But
that answers the question then.
Ichike, you mind if I was going to say one more thing that occurred to me before you go. Is that the one thing that excites me about this too is that a lot of these characters who left the majors or didn't do well in the testing, so never got chosen for majors, have had 2 seasons to get worked on in the minors. And a perfect example is like Chaozu. I don't know how well Chaozu is going to perform, but he has grown so much being in the minors. Like the coach who worked with him basically found a nice groove to get into, and Chaozu went from being just completely worthless to being very impressive in the minors. And and a lot of people like that. Zengaya improved. I'm sure a lot of other people improved. So it's interesting because you could see someone who got kicked out, who's had 2 weeks to grow. Almost like a real sports league. A lot of times, like in baseball, football, whatnot, they just aren't good enough. They're not there yet, so they get kicked down to the minor leagues. And then in the minor leagues, they develop their skills, and then when they come back, they impress. It happens all the time. So it'd be interesting to see if any of that kind of thing goes on.
But I think it's also worth mentioning. Again, I'm just going to talk over each here because it's funny. No real point to mention, but it's entertaining. No, I think
I'm going to have something to eat.
The people wouldn't have been picked if they weren't at least the best on the table for that team. So we wouldn't have taken Metacooler if he wasn't the best we had available. the Valkyries wouldn't have taken Zangief if they didn't think he was.
Did you have anyone else available?
He was the best around.
Did you have anyone else available?
Well, I had the entirety of Frieza's henchmen and Cooler's squad.
That's true. We
Technically,
We did consider like letting you take like Frieza's henchmen, but I'm really glad you didn't because
yeah, technically I didn't even consider it. I sort of looked at them for a minute and went, nah.
That's good because it would kind of destroy the whole Team Cold.
Team Cold. Yeah.
Team Cold.
But no, Metacooler could be terrifying. But anyway, on to HJK.
Yes.
Actually, just a.
On to the next question. I mean,
Yeah. I'm the question master. Just to double check, because this is where I realised I stopped recording. Are we still recording, Scott?
yes, we're still recording
Cool. Okay.
at 31 cool frames a second.
Oh yeah. I think the most dangerous newcomer will be Ass Vegeta. Or Ascended Super Saiyan.
I'm not an ass.
And
Shush, you be quiet.
You shut your mouth.
Rest yourself for tonight. Got androids to kill. Got androids to kill.
Sorry, I was thinking that Cell was going to do something completely different. Sorry.
Wow. Wow, you're disgusting.
That's true. Have you guys ever started Vegeta off in that form before?
No, we haven't ever started him off.
I know he's transformed sometimes, and it was kind of mixed results, but I don't think you ever started him in that form.
No, he did transform when we had him, and I don't think we were allowed to have. Well, at that point, we weren't allowed in Season 2 to have him over Super Saiyan 1 level.
Right.
So we never went over that. But when he transformed, he did okay. So we decided to start him as Ascended Super Saiyan, and judging by the tests we've done, he's pretty strong. Pretty strong.
Do we? I don't remember. Do we have the like you're limited to 2 Super Saiyan 2s?
No, don't be silly.
No? Okay. I know it's something we discussed, but I honestly don't remember.
There's a lot of stuff we discussed, and there was quite a lot of debate going on about it. But
right, but I think we decided that you losing Teen Gohan was enough.
yeah.
Hey, at least he went where he was really needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should feel good about the charity, HJK. Go
Yeah.
on.
It's funny, we were talking about rotations and how you use your strongest team against the strongest opponent.
Yeah.
We're going to use our strongest team against the Gohans.
And-
we
and-
are still good without Team Gohan.
And hey, you still have a Gohan who is a teen.
Yeah, I guess. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, we still have Team Gohan. Anyway, you know we're going to actually call him that in the final customization thing, just to confuse you.
Screw, yeah. put the band build on him and say, okay then, this is our team. Like, wait,
What do you mean secret measures?
So yeah, I would say. I mean, it's just in my opinion. 'Cause I haven't really studied the other teams yet because.
I haven't studied them. I was just making a,
Yeah, well, you were talking about Meta Cooler, so I know you hadn't studied them.
Yeah,
But
God.
I mean, I only know from my tests, so I would say he's going to be pretty dangerous, even if I say so myself. Which leads on to the shut up, Rebel. Which leads on to the final question. Looking back at Season 1, are you satisfied on how your team has progressed? I don't think I'll start that because I know my answer.
Yeah. I can say mine's a very much yes and no. I think that Krillin's made leaps and bounds. Oh my God, Krillin! I cannot believe it when I say this, but Krillin's actually become someone to be feared.
Wow.
Well, I wouldn't say he cemented that that reputation yet, but towards the end of Season 1, he has done some of the most spectacular things I've seen someone do in that league. I saw him do like a 33-hit combo to Sin and then finish it off with like a command. I mean, he's done some amazing stuff. Raccoon. That's all I got to say. Raccoon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely proud about Krillin. But there's other people, Yamcha, Goku, they've made steady improvements. Goku's been kind of iffy, but overall, I think he's improving. Tien is always a constant frustration, because I can't really say he's improved, because he can't make up his mind if he wants to be good or not. Some weeks, he will be beyond phenomenal, and almost beat Cold and get us into the playoffs. And other weeks, he'll just turn his back to you and let you, like, bend over and let you just have your way with him.
Well, maybe now you have Chaozu, he'll actually start
Maybe.
I don't know.
And the thing is, like, and this is why it's so frustrating. Like, you know, if I look back at season 1 and I look back now, it's almost every single week. It's, so what do we do with TN?
Yeah.
Well, if he had any consistency, I might be able to answer that question. But, like, 1 week he goes all melee, and the next week he goes all B2s. And the next week he does nothing. And the next week he does a good mix. It's like, I don't know!
Yeah.
Oh, TN.
Rebel, are you satisfied with how your team's progressed?
Let me think about this. Am I satisfied from going to not winning any games at all to being among the best teams in the league?
To going back to not winning any games at all.
No, I'm not satisfied. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not pleased at all. No.
That is
No,
true.
it's a terrible
Cold,
thing.
Cold's a good testament to how much the custom patara has changed things.
Mhm.
Because season 1, they were a laughing stock. They were a
Hello.
joke. Yeah. Season 2, they were phenomenal. Season 3, they were middle of the road, slightly better than average. I wouldn't say slightly, but I mean they definitely weren't an elite team, but they were still to be feared.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I guess I'm alright with it. HJK,
good.
Oh,
what
me?
about your
well,
crappy blonde haired sort of?
Well, I mean, if we look back at season 1, I remember vividly the part where we were unbeaten in 5 games, and then we fought Namek and lost, and I was gutted. And then
Yeah.
we didn't win. And then in the rest of that season 2, we kind of were middle of the road.
Oh man, you
team.
guys struggled so much in season 2.
You did.
Yeah, I know it wasn't
You
fun. But,
deserved it though.
and then of course, season 3 happened.
No, Super Saiyan 2 happened. That's what happened.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay,
No,
several things happened. One, Super Saiyan 2 happened. And the other thing was, you guys got some really good builds going.
Yes, you
guys
did.
some really good coaching and got
Exactly.
Team Gohan to be possibly the best player in the league.
Oh my
Thing is
god.
now, it wasn't
Oh
just
my
Team
god. That I'm sorry. That was brilliant. The whole ultimate secret measures. Ultimate. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you dead?
It's funny because the original basis for that build was A, not meant for Gohan, and 2, not meant for Ultimates either. It was for Goku. It was for Goku in the
Yeah.
very beginning of the preseason to see if he would transform more with secret measures.
Yeah.
And he ended up just using his ultimate over and over and over again.
Yeah.
We were
And
like, okay, we're gonna have him on that.
It was like, you know who has a good ultimate?
It can't be blocked.
You know who's got a good ultimate is that guy's son. So yeah, that's true. I didn't want to make it sound like, because you and Team Muscle too, as overpowered as everyone claimed Team Muscle was, and they did have some really strong characters, but a lot of the success of your two teams last season was the coaching.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course, definitely.
So,
was a
but
good-
I hope I'm not alone when I say this. I hope you guys struggle again.
Wow. Well, it's too late now.
I don't
we've
know.
won.
I
We
don't
have
know.
the Super Bowl and you don't. So
I think at this point of the league, I'm not all that fussed because it's going to be interesting either way.
Yeah, I'm one of those people though that I wish everyone in the league was like 7
I
and
know.
6. You know, like I honestly, I guess I wouldn't wish that. I like the idea that there's strong and weak teams, but I like balance. I like not knowing what team's gonna win from week to week.
yeah, it's kind of. It will be more interesting, but it will be just less. Real.
Like to be honest, especially with Team Muscle last season, as impressive as they were, their matches weren't as interesting because you pretty much knew who was gonna win,
Yeah.
and they pretty much never disappointed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from in like 2 or 3 games.
But as opposed to, for example, a team I loved to watch last season was Team Cold. Why?
Yeah.
Because Team Cold won a lot, they lost a lot, and like Team Cold developed this reputation of don't let them fire that damn
Yeah.
ultimate.
Yeah, they're okay if you just keep them bottled down. If you give them an inch, they will destroy you.
Yeah. So they were.
I quite like that reputation.
They were a fun
Well
team to
deserved.
watch. They were a really fun team to watch. And even on the other side of the road, a lot of people say it's no fun to watch, say, Dragon Ball Warriors or Derp because they lose all the time. And that's true too, but at least you want to watch because you want them to win.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And
But-
you never know, they might pull out a Dragon Ball Warriors against Muscle.
Yeah.
Or Derp against Super Saiyan
Ah.
HJK.
Season 2. That happened in season 2. We made up for that in season 3. Okay.
Hopscotch and
sorry.
Kamehamehas, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
I have you find. I think I don't actually remember. I might just be making this up, selective memory, but I think Supreme Kai did eat a Kamehameha then.
I think
It might have
so.
even been Team Gohan's, which would have been fantastic. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I love it whenever someone does that. Like Vidal did that once last season. Like Burner's like kick, and Vidal's like, "Where am I? Where are you kicking?"
Yeah.
So that's just.
So yeah. So I guess we're all pretty pleased overall with how our teams have progressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the final question is from Gamer Junkie again, and he says, overall, how far do you think all the teams have come since season 1?
I think it's difficult. Some teams have progressed quite a long way in terms of, I know, as a perfect example, Cold have progressed quite a long way in terms of advancing. I think other teams, I don't know, you could almost say other teams have regressed.
Yep.
Like the beginning of season 1, Namek was just terrifying. And now they're still scary. I would never say count Namek out.
Yeah, that was the weird
I'd
thing about
also-
Namek is their record was so horrible, but it was like every single fight was down to the line, and you were always scared to face them.
Yeah, it was never a foregone conclusion when they fought. I mean, it was likely to be a foregone conclusion, but you could never really guarantee it.
I would say that there's a lot more teams out there. Like, there's a lot of teams that progressed. There's a few teams that regress, like Androids and the Saiyans. Oh my gosh, they struggled
definitely.
so much in season 3. But there's so many more teams that just haven't gone anywhere. Derp, Namek, Gohan's. Dragon Ball Warrior. Actually, I'd say Dragon Ball Warrior slowly improved. Namek's towards the end of the season were getting much better.
Yeah.
But like Derp and the Gohans is the one that really comes to mind. The Gohans, just they should be a great team. They should be mid-level to high tier team, and they've never even been to the playoffs.
No.
No.
Hopefully that will all change.
I think when you look back to season 1, I think you had a very clear divide. There were really good teams and really bad teams because, of course, it was the first season, and it was all based on those wins and loss records.
Yeah.
Now you've kind of seen the kind of spreading out, if you know what I mean. So you've got the middle teams. It's kind of more realistic, of course, because there's more seasons which you can go by, and people build their teams around Pataras and everything. So you've got a more balanced thing rather than just good, just bad. I mean, if you think of Blades, I mean, that's a perfect example. Think of Valkyries, think of Margins. That's a perfect example of just seeing them all balance out into an actual... I just want to say realistic team. As in a team that is realistically what would happen in any league, in any kind of thing. You would see teams progress like that. But also you would kind of see teams regress, which has been happening. I mean, Namek again is the perfect example of that.
I think you can claim. I think you'd have to have a really quite a detailed consideration of how it worked, or of what really happened. But I think you could say that some teams may not necessarily have regressed so much as they haven't advanced as quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
I also like, and when I say progress, I don't mean as in strength or win-loss, but what I really like is that over the seasons, now that we are entering season 4, we've had 3 whole seasons of this, the reputations of the teams, kind of the traditions and this and that. I love how those progress. Like, teams are seen as, like, for example, a lot of people, when they think Earth Defenders, they think, man, they've really dragged some fights down to the last instant, and they may win it, they may lose it, but like the thing, like what I'm proud of for my team is that if you made a highlight reel, Earth Defenders would be in a lot of those. Now they might lose half of them, but they have a lot of moments where it's just like, holy crap, did that just happen? When you think Valkyries, it's just the brutality of that team. The characters, just between Fasha's just dogging you. 18, well, we all fear 18, even in the real world. And then Aureli's creepy, I'm going to beat the crap out of you while looking happy child doing it. So, like, you think of the teams and you think of these personalities that they've started to develop over the seasons, and I love that. And it's getting to the point where people almost don't want to change their team because of the tradition of the team. And I love that it's getting to that point. And especially I also really enjoy that each team, strong or weak, most teams have something to fear. Even if you're a middle of the road team, all of us have been playing or doing this long enough that we can point to, say, like the Blades and go, Tapion, fear that
Yeah.
man. Or, you can point to even some of the weaker teams and go, Hercule. I know you want to laugh at Hercule, but let me tell you something.
Present bomb.
Present bomb, or if you put like a dragon power on him and he gets into any sort of clash, fear him.
He'll just win. Yeah.
So I love that almost like you said, almost like real teams in real sports leagues. It's very rare that there's a team where you just go, please, whatever. Most teams you go, you don't want to take your eye off them because every team's got a weapon,
Yeah.
and I love how this has progressed like that.
Absolutely. It's getting interesting, getting much more interesting. And I think as people start to understand the pataras as well,
Yes.
you're going to get a lot more of that.
Yeah. So is that the last
Okay.
question, or is that just the last
That-
question from?
Just
That
last
is
question
all
from
the questions. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So now we need to talk about the actual teams and the potential for the season. First, we'll go over the change in coaching for 3 teams: Cold, Derp, and Dragon Ball Warriors. And we'll just talk about, I guess, how there's change in coaching. Whether
Well, actually, there's been a lot more changes than that. Team Muscles changed their coach.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about them.
Ginyu Force, I believe, has changed their coach.
Well,
Yep.
Okay.
We're not sure on that. Like Crow right now has not been incredibly active, but right now it's KO's running the show, at least for the time being.
Okay. Can you? I've already forgotten Muscle.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll just read them out, then you don't have to worry about that. So we'll start with Cold. How do you think that Nightmare being his coach will change Cold? Do you think it will, or do you think it will?
I'll definitely change it. Every coach has their opinions of how things should work. Every coach has their ideas, and especially since Nightmare basically ran the minor leagues, he's been exposed to all of that for reasonable amount of time during that, and the minor leagues have come up with some of the most inventive and interesting ideas in terms of build making. So, well, I don't know. It'll definitely change things. How it'll change them, I'm not entirely certain. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a scary thing because no one understands Pataras better than a tester and a league runner.
Yeah.
So I would say that the testers, Deranger because he ran the minor leagues, Nightmare because he ran the minor leagues, and I probably have the best grasp of how Pataras work because you deal with them every single day. Every single week you're putting entire builds on people and reading that description over and over and over. So
Yeah.
so I think that he's definitely going to know exactly what to do, what to put on what character to get the effect he wants.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's one thing that's going to be interesting too is that's what I love about the minor leagues. You said they came up with some really inventive builds because they had to. Necessity is the mother of all invention. That's one thing I love about this 5th player. Most of these 5th players are not, pick of the litter. So
Yeah.
people are going to have to get creative because they have to.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting. I don't know much about how he does builds, and the problem with asking me about another team's coach is that what they do is done behind closed doors, and I only pop into other forums to give information. I don't really just sit there and every once in a while I'll peruse what they're saying just to make sure they're not doing anything against the rules or underhanded. But for the most part, I leave teams to their own business because after all, I'm a coach too. And I don't want to be getting unfair advantages. So I don't really know much about his coaching style, or many other people's for that matter. I don't know much about Vindicated's coaching style. I can talk a little bit more about Dragon Ball Warriors and Derp, but that's because they're a special case. They
Well, I mean,
we held a contest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're special. I'm saying we held a contest where we got to actually analyze what they think like as coaches.
Exactly. I mean, all of these. It's just speculation, isn't it? It's just what you would
Right.
expect. With the difference between, let's say, take Muscle. We know how Ivory built Muscle. We know what his builds ended up creating for Muscle, and whether that will change because he's no longer coach.
It's alive.
Yeah.
I think every single one of the coaches changing will change something in some way. I think one actually analyzing that accurately and saying, right, this is how this person's opinion of this team will be changed by them being coach, or this is how the team will change under them, is one, incredibly difficult, and two, probably unfair as well.
Yeah.
Partly because opinions may or may not be generous or otherwise. I'm not going to pretend I like everybody, and I'm not going to pretend I agree with everybody in the way they build things. You know, HJK, come on. Yeah, you know what I'm like. You both know what I'm like. So I think saying that's probably unfair.
Well, we'll just quickly go over then the competition for Derp and DB Warriors.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about why was... Okay, let's start off here.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it not a match between the contestants for the coaching?
There were two reasons for that. One was expedience, which was basically we had a week, and it would be hard to set up all the matches and then all that. The other one, there was also another more fundamental level of the randomness of the league. Let's say someone builds a horrible build, but because of the randomness of the league, because it was just one tournament, because it was whatever, they win. How do you tell them no? Even though you know their build sucked. And I will say that, I in case anyone's wondering, I know some people wanted critiquing on their builds. None of the builds, we didn't think any of the builds were horrible or beyond repair or anything like that. But, you know, what if that had happened? And then we had to tell you, no, I know you won, but we're still not accepting you. That's bad. So we felt it was better to concentrate on the theory and not the practice. In other words, we wanted to look at not so much what you put on them, but the reason you put on them and how well, because there were a lot of builds we were like, we looked at it, we scratched our head and go, why the hell did they do that? And then you explain it and we're like, you know, that's not half bad. So that's what we were looking at, and we thought it would be better to, because everyone on the staff has a good grasp of the Pataras. That's why I put them on the staff. They demonstrated a good grasp of the Patara system and a fair view towards the league as a whole. So we looked at them, and we looked at why you did what you did, and judged from that only. And that way we took out the whole random chance element out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think part of the division as well, you could argue that because we know the system and we know the way we approach things, because most of us have either are coaches or have been coaches at some point. I think you can also argue that our own kind of bias to the way we build things comes into there. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was. I think expediency was probably the best one. Add that to that, the randomness element as well. And also, actually, I think another one that's worth considering as well as an additional point is it's essentially a free test for that team. If we'd done that as games, it would have basically been a free test.
Yep, that's true.
So,
I mean, you talked about looking at the builds and then reading through their explanations. When I was reading through them, I wasn't really... I mean, the first thing you look for if you're looking for a build and you're looking through a new team is innovation. Innovation.
Right, because these teams were the two worst teams of the league.
Exactly.
So you needed something to change.
So that would be the main thing I would have looked at. But at the same time, I was kind of looking at how well they knew the character. Yeah. So, I mean, let's just say Supreme Kai. How well did the potential coaches know Supreme Kai, know his strengths, know his weaknesses, and how do they complement them in the build? That was kind of what I was looking for.
And I will say that there are some people who submitted builds that didn't get picked because it wasn't that their build was fundamentally weak or wrong, but it was that their build was generic. You could take that build. It was a safe build. You could take that build and you could slap it on anyone and do okay, and that's not what we were looking for. We were looking for exactly what HJK said. Someone who not only understood the Patara system, but understood the character that you were putting the Pataras on and understood how to bring out the best in them. Because, like I said, Dragon Ball Warriors and Derp, this isn't muscle. This isn't Boo. This is Dragon Ball Warriors and Derp. They need help. serious help. They're already starting off weak because of their very nature. Dragon Ball Warrior players are just by nature generally weaker than other characters because they were from the Dragon Ball saga. Tenkaichi isn't like Street Fighter where everyone's balanced. Tenkaichi never pretended that everyone was balanced. So you need a better coaching staff than you would for a stronger team. Derp, it's Team Derp.
It's the whole
I don't know. I don't see the problem. What's wrong with you?
I mean, their mascot is probably like the worst character in the game. Still the best character in the game.
Disclaimer.
Best showmanship for sure. But the point is, we were looking for, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And we were looking for people that could be innovative, that really understood the patara system, as in you weren't posting illegal builds, and really understood the characters the pataras were going on.
Yeah. Well, that kind of wraps up the changes in coaching, I guess. So we're just going to progress on to basically the potential in-season for all the teams. Right off the bat, no basically actually based on...
Well, no, I think we should hold that off until after the preseason. Because I was going to say, I want the three of us to, at the end of the preseason, where we've had a chance to look at these teams, we're going to do two things. At the end of the preseason, we're going to do what do we think the win-loss record for every team is going to be? And then at the end of the season, we're actually going to see who got the most right. And then every week, we're going to say, who do you think is going to win each match? And then, so kind of like, because, I mean, do you guys do that over there? Here, when we do American football, we do that all the time. Like, the commentators will be like, I think this person won, this person, and then at the end of the week, they'll compare notes to see who won. Or who got the best right.
I think it's probably worthwhile for the preseason, just doing the preseason matches and the matches that you're going to do this evening. Just because, for just the sheer element of entertainment. We don't know what people are going to do. Well,
sure.
We don't know what people are going to do, and it'll be interesting to see how because I'm pretty sure, and I certainly know it's the case with me, that we have preconceptions of the teams and preconceptions of what they'll do and how they'll perform. So it'll be interesting to see how those preconceptions actually hold up in terms of the preseason and what the plan is.
So why don't we do this? Why doesn't someone pull up the preseason, and then we'll just go, okay, this versus this term. Who do you think is going to win?
Already done, yeah.
Okay.
So, have you got your color-coded chart there, H-Sticky?
Hell yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Okay, so the first match on the fixtures is Earth Defenders versus Valkyries. Fairly interesting start to the season.
Yeah. Go on,
Squee.
I don't know. Okay. Here's my fear. Earth Defenders have had trouble in the past with the Valkyries. We don't match up well with the Valkyries. I love the Valkyries. They're my second favorite team in the world. If I wasn't an Earth Defender, I'd be a Valkyrie man, which is odd considering they're all women. But I think that our team will do well. Oh, man. You know what? I think our team will win it. I really do. I don't think it'll be much. I don't think it'll be very impressive, but I think we'll win it.
You know what? How about we do the season? We're talking about predicting the season wins and losses. How about we do that for the preseason now?
Okay.
And I'll write it down. So who you think is going to win each match?
Okay. I think something that's actually worth pointing out just before we do this, in case there are any preconceptions, the preseason doesn't matter.
No.
Oh, no.
We're doing this for amusement's sake only.
Yeah, and you guys also
just do use it as for what it is, which is a test and an idea of how your team's going to perform and how you want your team to perform.
And it'll be very difficult for us too, because during the season we can make better guesses as to who we think will win. But during the preseason, like for example, I know there are several characters on my team that I am doing very experimental builds that I would not do on a normal season unless I'd already tested them in the preseason.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, like for example, right now my team is not concerned about winning. We're concerned about testing new builds.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, this will just be for fun, but the season one will be.
But still,
competition between
let's
us
do
as
this.
well.
I think that my team will squeak by a victory.
Okay, so we'll put an S by Earth Defenders. Earth Square.
Oh crap! I forgot about Aurelie. No. I think they'll squeak by.
You still think Earth Defender's going to win?
I think so.
Okay, fair enough, Rebel.
I'm probably going to put my money with the Valkyries. I think the Valkyries probably have the greater chance of taking this one home. I think I'd say that the Valkyries are more consistent and they're probably stronger overall than the Earth Defenders, but we'll see how things go.
You're fired.
Fine.
I would probably say just simply for the sheer fact of Aurelian 18, the Valkyries already have the advantage.
I gotta remind myself this doesn't matter. Otherwise, I'd be getting really scared. Especially now that they all have 7 points.
Yep, and there's 5 of them, so I'm going to go with Valkyries. Okay, put that. Okay, so the next match is Namek versus Boo.
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to say Boo's going to win it, but Namek is going to impress.
Okay.
Because Namek has King Piccolo and Tambourine. They've gotten rid of Slug. And before we get this, because I know some people will try and say this, Tambourine is, according to Dragon Ball Wiki and Dragon Ball lore, a mutated Namek. Because, he doesn't look like a Namek except for, like, his ears. But if you've never seen Dragon Ball, Tambourine was an egg that King Piccolo spat out and grew. He's literally King Piccolo's son, and he's classified on the wiki as a mutated Namek. So he fits the team just fine, even if he doesn't look
Yeah.
particularly. But, yeah, I think they'll impress, but I think Boo will take this. I mean, it's Boo.
Rebel?
Yeah, Boo. I don't think there's much of a question in that. I think Boo will win it. I'm not sure if Namek will impress or not, but Boo will definitely take it home in my view.
I would love to see Namek impress, but
Yeah.
I mean, put money on it? Nah.
No.
Boo.
Yeah,
But yeah, hopefully they'll impress. Okay.
definitely.
So
I definitely hope for that.
match 3 of preseason week 1 is Derp versus Rugrats.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Oh.
That's actually quite a tricky one in my opinion. This is all 5 players.
Yeah, it's all 5
So-
players. And see, here's the problem with Derp. Derp this season or at least for the preseason, they've gotten rid of Raditz and they've taken up Salza and Dodoria. Salza was very impressive in the minor leagues. Dodoria was okay. So I think that they're going to be facing a stronger Team Derp, but I still think Rugrats are going to pull it out because Cybermen, Cell Jr., and frickin' Goten's head train.
Yeah. Let's mention Trunks.
Yeah,
I think the Rugrats will put it out. I think that Derp will put up a bigger fight than some people might expect, but I expect Rugrats to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Derp's got too much unpredictability about them at the minute. I think the Rugrats are probably going to
Okay.
take this one.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to guess now, of course, because of the new coaching thing. Who knows what's going to happen? But
No, absolutely.
based on previous preconceptions, you are going to have to go with Rugrats as well.
Okay.
Okay. So the next match, Saiyans versus Gohans, even closer, in my opinion. Especially now
agree.
Gohans have Team Gohan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm going to say?
What?
Well, as it stands right now, I'm going to say the Saiyans because the Gohans haven't posted a build.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure what to do about that. I think I'm just going to give them a generic 7 1-pointers on everyone or something. I don't know what to do. Because they don't have a build posted at all. Unless it's
Maybe
changed
just
in the past hour.
Yeah,
Don't
just
think
keep them
it
at
has.
normal.
Let me
Just don't give them a
check.
build.
No, because the thing is, it's not really a fair test against their opponents.
If you want, I can spend the next little bit running up a build for them. if you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
me to.
because see, here's the thing. Not even just for Gohan's sake. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting them some sort of build so that they can
But
at
they're
least
testing against someone else. as well,
right,
that's
exactly.
kind of the point.
Because it's not really fair to the Saiyans if they're just going up against no one without Pataras.
Yeah. It's not really a very good
So
test,
we'll
is
do
it?
that. So yeah, we'll put up some sort of build for the Gohans because for all we know, the coach may have been having a bad week. He put up a rotation, so he's around.
Yeah.
But for all we know, he's having a bad week, and we don't want to punish him too bad. So if you could, throw together something for me. Don't worry too much about it, but we'll put something together. But I'm still saying Saiyans simply by that nature of, look, the Gohans have Teen Gohan, and I think they're going to be much stronger this season than they've been in past seasons, but they don't even have a build right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Saiyans.
Um,
Plus, they've got Nappa back, who only has 4 bars of health now.
Yeah, exactly.
yes, it's awesome. I don't know. I think this one's another like the Earth Defenders and the Valkyries. This is actually a really close one. I don't know. I like the Gohans as a style of fighting team.
Oh my God! Explosion, or was it
Yeah,
super wave? Super explosive wave.
and
Oh.
just their general B2 setup is quite a nice one, and they're not too shabby in melee either. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna put my money with the Gohans.
Are you sure it's not just because you're making their build?
I'm actually sure about that. I was considering going for them anyway. So yes.
You're sitting there like
I'm
already
sure.
thinking of what you're gonna put on them.
Yeah.
I think it's just that Rebel can't afford to, can't bring himself to go against his own work.
I honestly.
I would probably say Gohan's as well, just for the fact. I mean, it's very difficult to build Team Gohan, so he's not very good. And I don't think Saiyans really have much to combat a really good Team Gohan anymore. So I'm going to put my money with Gohan's as well. Oh, another interesting match. It's quite interesting first week. Margin versus Muscle.
Whoa. Whoa.
Both guys battling it out.
Man, oh man, see, who's gonna say how good Muscle is now that they've had their nerf?
Exactly.
They've lost Sin. They still have 13, but they've lost the ability to put key charging abilities on 13, or at least most of the important ones.
I think it's actually worthwhile addressing Muscle right now.
Yeah.
They're by no means a team that's now middle of the road, I don't think.
No,
I honestly do not see Muscle being like 7 and 8 or 8 or even 8 and 7, actually. I see Muscle taking the majority of their games by a reasonably clear margin as victories. Whether they'll measure up to, Margins, Boo, Super Saiyans, Cold, maybe Androids, depending on how they perform, maybe Ginyu Force again, depending on how they perform, Gohans. I don't know. I see them being powerful, though. It'll be very interesting. But for this, I don't know. What do you think? I think I'd probably cast in with margins. But...
I'm gonna let's go ahead and so everyone's clear. Here's what Team Muscle has. They lost Sin. They have Broly, Bojack, transformed Garlic, transformed Roshi, and Android 13. I am going to go with Muscle. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Muscle. Mainly because, I mean, Majin's a really strong team, but Bobbity.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Bobbity. I mean, like, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if I had to choose Bobbity over Roshi, I might take Master Roshi.
Especially transformed, yeah.
Yeah, transform Master Roshi because, his B2s aren't anything great, but he's got some decent melee on him. I'm going to take Team Muscle for this one. But
Yeah,
man, it's going to be a nice match.
that'll be a fun match. I will probably also take Muscle simply because you kind of have to compare, because I would assume they're now the same strength because of the nerfs Muscle's had and how good Margins become.
Right.
You've got to compare their new fifth players, and I would say that Roshi is probably stronger than Bobbity as well. So I'll go with Muscle. And
Yep,
the next match,
I'll stick with margins.
stick with the Margins. Fair enough. Okay, next one is DB Warriors versus Ginyu Force.
Oh, man. Who's the fifth player for DB Warriors again? They haven't chosen someone yet. I think they're going with Grandpa Gohan. I'm going to go with Ginyu then. I think that, wink wink, nudge nudge, DB Warriors, if you're listening, you should probably trade Grandpa Gohan for, say, Transform Pilaf or Yajirobe.
Yeah.
Because we'll allow transform Pilaf is actually fairly acceptable because he's not throwable, but he's still very stunnable, and I mean he's not really a giant character in the form that we think of giant characters.
Yeah.
And plus, even transformed, he's not that fantastic.
No, exactly.
He's got a crotch rocket, but I still think he's probably better than Grandpa Gohan. Yajirobe, a lot of people don't want Yajirobe, even taking off the Sensu Bean limitations on him, which makes you feel bad for Yajirobe, but I still think Yajirobe, and this is the thing, I don't think Yajirobe's that bad. Man, he carried Blade sometimes last season.
Oh, definitely.
He carried them, so I was surprised that unless Dodoria has been doing spectacularly, which I haven't seen the test for Dodoria, but I'm surprised they chose Dodoria over Yajirobe, and I would be very surprised if Dragon Ball Warriors chose Grandpa Gohan over Yajirobe. But considering what they have now, which is Grandpa Gohan versus who did you say? Ginyu Force.
Gildo, isn't it?
Yeah, Ginyu Force.
And Gildo.
I would say Ginyu Force is going to take this one. I mean, you got
I
Jace, you got Birder, you got Raccoon. Yeah.
No, definitely. I think Ginyu Force have that one. Nice chicken.
I am actually going to go with Dragon Ball Warriors for this one.
Ooh, is that just to be different for
Yeah,
me?
you're just being a rebel.
No
pun intended.
I'm not a big rebel. Believe me.
Trust me, he can't ascend to that level.
You're just
well, I
being a
think-
rabble rouser.
Mr. Rabble.
Nonsense. I would never do such a thing.
I think with DB Warriors, they have a new coach, and I wouldn't say they have a bad. They don't have a bad team. I mean, they got what have they got? They got early Goku. Got
I'm excited to see
mid
good
Goku.
things from them.
Got Nam.
Early Goku, you mean?
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, and then of course you got Devilman. You can do good against all the Ginyu Force.
That's true.
And then whoever their first one was, Grandpa Gohan. Just ignore him. I still think DB Warriors have a chance.
Yeah,
So I'm going with them. Yeah. And then, of course, you got Cold versus the Blades in the next match.
Oh man, another good match.
That'll be interesting.
Because now the Blades have the Blades' new lineup is Janemba, Tapion, Sword Trunks, General Tao, and Cyborg Tao. And General Tao and Cyborg Tao killed it in the minors. They were kind of thrown away by Team Blade, believe it or not, after Season 2. But in the minors, they apparently got much better. And Durangel wanted both of them back. I mean, it was no question. He was like, yeah, I'm taking these two. Yajirobe, you get the F out. And Durangel even told me, it's not that Yajirobe was horrible, but just that he felt that the Taos were so much better. So, you know... Oh, man.
You better fucking vote for me.
I'm gonna go... Okay, I'm gonna go with Cold. I'm gonna go with Cold for one reason and one reason only. I haven't seen enough of Blade's new setup to really have the confidence in them I need. I think that there's great potential there, but I've seen what Cold can do, and Cold hasn't had the drastic change the Blades have. So I'm gonna go with Cold on this one.
Partly for team pride, and partly because I also think we're gonna win. I'm going with Cold.
I'll probably also go with Cold because, you know.
God, just following the faceless herd now, HJK.
No, I'm just glad that we finally all agree on something. I think all 7 matches before there's been like one person.
Yeah. Oh no, Derp. We all said Rugrats would be.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Derp.
Sorry, Derp.
And Namek. Yeah,
Sorry. Sorry, Derp, and sorry, Namek, and sorry, Blades.
Oh dear. The next match is the final match: Super Saiyans versus Androids.
I'm
gonna put my name down.
I'm gonna go Super Saiyans because they've lost Teen Gohan, but even losing Teen Gohan, Super Saiyans was a strong team all around. And Adult Gohan is not Teen Gohan. Unless you've done some amazing builds with him, he's not as strong, which was the whole point. But you take that aside, apparently you're very confident in Ascended Saiyan Vegeta. Goku was good last season. You know, Trunks was always pretty decent. I still want to see you start him in his Super Bolt, but whatever. I'm gonna go with Super Saiyans over this one, simply because crap. Who were you facing again?
Androids.
Thank you. I know, right? I was thinking about it. Androids.
You just think we're going to win against anyone, really?
No, it's not that. It's when I actually decided I had both teams in mind, and then I went off on the Super Saiyans. I forgot who the opponent was. I'm not saying the androids don't have a chance, but yeah, Android 8 is untested. I really have no idea how he's going to do. I have no idea if Cell's going to be good Cell or bad Cell. And I'm very excited to see what androids can do. I really would like to see androids kind of rise back up to where they were in Season 2. Or at least get closer to than they were in Season 3.
Yes.
But I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Super Saiyans.
Cool. Rebel.
He wants to go Super Saiyans, but he doesn't like to agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm going to just put you down for the Super Saiyans.
That's pretty much it. I don't want to agree with HDK too much because I think it's setting a dangerous precedent and
to the kids.
I'm sure it's unhealthy. I'm sure there's a medical condition associated.
You don't want to give
so.
a bad example to the kids that may be listening.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But no, I think I honestly I see androids taking it, but they have to do something pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
But no, I think in all probability the Super Saiyans have got this pretty much nailed.
Okay, so that's it for week 12, week 1 of the preseason, but week 12 of the actual season. Should we go to week 13 then? First match is
Sure.
Derp versus Saiyans.
Sure. Now I'm curious. Do we get to amend these each week, or?
I think no, we won't get into amend them. We'll probably just do one Zcast at the beginning of the preseason. So now,
Oh, I thought
okay.
we were doing this weekly.
Not for the preseason.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
And
We'll
then,
do
yeah.
we'll do the one for the preseason. We'll do
So
something
nice
else
that the
before
founder of the
preseason.
league knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
I know we were doing them more often than this.
well, we have sort of taken the Zcast as our sort of pet project.
No,
for
right,
Britain,
no,
so-
exactly. But so just so everyone knows, we're doing one Zcast for the preseason, and then we are planning on doing it weekly once the season starts, right?
Yes, if we
Okay.
can.
If-
Yeah.
if- all
Well,
goes to plan.
we'll do it this way. I should be free usually, and if one of you guys can't make it or whatnot, we can find a guest coach or whatnot. We should be able to pull this off. Hell, if
Yeah.
I have to take the thing on my back,
No, it's ours. You're not taking it back across the Atlantic, Daniel.
Riddle's literally scratching the screen here. Give it back.
all right.
Give
But
it-
so week 2. All right, let's do this. So
Derp
yeah, let's
versus
do all four. Let's do all four weeks.
Mhm.
Week 2.
Derp versus
match one.
Saiyans. Derp versus Saiyans.
Derp versus Saiyans. I'm gonna go with. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm gonna go with Derp.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna
Okay.
go with Derp because my confidence in the Saiyans is not that great. They let's face it, they were very mediocre in season 3. They were very mediocre, and I haven't seen enough from them, which means I haven't seen anything, to show that they're gonna increase that much in season 4. They've got Nappa back, and that's good, but is Nappa better than Salza? I don't know. Is Nappa
Yeah.
better than Dodoria? I don't know.
Especially now he's lost a health bar.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually gonna take Derp on this one.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Rebel.
I am gonna stick with the Saints, partly just because I like the Saints, and partly because I think the Saints have greater chance of consistency. I think the Saints, to my mind, are more likely to be a stronger team. Certainly, whilst things are settling down, I think the Saints have a better chance. But I'd like to be proven wrong, but then again, I'd like both of these teams at some point to do reasonably well.
Right.
Yeah. It's quite tricky, really. I mean, you got the Saiyans. They kind of have proven. They're proven to be a decent team now. I would say they've kind of gone down from being a really good team to a decent team, and Derp is probably below a decent team in season 3.
Yeah.
But again, we haven't seen anything from Saiyans since the end of the season, so I can't say, it's going to be. Oh yeah, the Saiyans definitely improved since season 3.
Yeah.
Whereas Derp, we've seen a lot of, there's been a lot of stuff surrounding Derp and what changes they're going to go through. And I think after week 1 of the preseason, they will probably try and, do something different, and they'll probably
I
catch
think
Saiyans
they're
off
gonna,
guard.
yeah, I think they're going to have to change things up at some point during the preseason just to get as much kind of range as they can.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
usually what you'd want to do is, you'd have a couple of games just to see really how your build irons out and goes around. I don't think Derp really have that luxury at the minute.
No, yeah. So I'd probably go with Derp, actually, yeah.
Okay.
And then the next match is Namek at Super Saiyans.
Namek's
fuck,
got it.
I do something.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
You know what?
Nope. I don't know what.
I'm thinking. You know what? I'm going to take Namek on this one. And it's not just to spite you, but I'll tell you why.
I love how it's not just
Yeah.
despite you.
No. I'll tell you why. Because I really do kind of expect great things from Tambourine. And I expect decent things from King Piccolo. Because King Piccolo was scary in Season 1. And I know they got rid of him due to the tests, but we, as testers, all of us know that what you see in a test never quite reflects what you see in a season.
No.
And I expect that, at the very least, I expect King Piccolo to be an improvement over Slug. And I expect Tambourine to be, I'm going to say it right now, I think Tambourine's going to be a star. I could be wrong, he could suck, but I think Tambourine's going to be someone to watch out for. And I think that they're going to have this first week to kind of try out a build, tweak it a little bit week 2, and I think they're going to impress people.
Rebel.
And it's interesting. I think that said, the Super Saiyans have had more success in recent seasons and will also have that same opportunity to testing us. And I think HDK and Himmel are going to be working pretty hard.
I do also think,
seeing what they can test.
if I remember correctly, in HJK, you can answer this more better than I can. Didn't you have a really, really close match against them last season?
Last season, I don't remember.
I think I remember, like, it was, oh my god, they were so at your throats the whole time, and then you pulled it out. But it was,
Actually, I do remember. Yeah, 'cause I remember Trunks. I think it was Trunks or Vegeta actually pulling it through, and I was like, "Phew, thank God."
yeah.
So I think it was quite a close match then.
So I think if someone's going to take you down, I mean, they've already, and like we were talking earlier, Namex have always been that close to a win.
They're almost like the Gohans. In that
Yeah.
sense.
So, sorry, I interrupted you completely. Sorry.
I'll stick with the Super Saiyans for this one, unfortunately.
Fair enough. You should feel honoured. I will go with the Super Saiyans as well. Simply
Really?
because
Are you sure?
actually, no, wait, no, wait. I think that I can't really say because I have too much pride in my team to say no, but I at the same time don't actually believe we would lose. So I think it's fairly obvious why I picked Super Saiyans for that reason. And Rebel's not speaking for some reason. I can't hear him. Oh dear, oh shit.
I know the answer.
So Gohan's at Boo is the next match.
Gohan's at Boo. Oh man, I hate to say this, but I have to take Boo. I want the Gohans to do so well, but Boo.
Yeah.
Kid Boo, Evil Boo, Super Boo, Majin Boo, Oob. I rest my case.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a bit difficult to say with the Gohans at the minute. So, as much as I hate agreeing with anybody else, I'll be going with Boo on this one.
I mean, with Teen Gohan, they're not. It's going to be a huge boost for them, but I don't think Teen Gohan alone will get them through Boo. So I am going to go with Boo as well.
Especially with his slightly nerfed build.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Boo for me as well. Third match: Androids versus Rugrats.
Oh man, that's a hard one. Well, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say androids, and for one particular reason. I think 17 is designed to work really well against the Rugrats, because if you think about the Rugrats, they're very rush heavy. Like, their B2s are a lot of rushes, and they're very fast, and they're always charging in your face. And if you think 17, what do you think? You think that little B2 that he loves to throw out with the two balls that's like instantaneous, and it's like a rush killer.
Yeah.
I cannot count the number of times someone was rushing up into 17's face, and it's just like, oh, sorry.
Catch.
I think that 17 would have like a really good match, and I think androids will pull that out.
Seems reasonable.
I mean, no, you're next, Rebel.
I don't know. Yeah, I think with Cell 17, even Android 20, if they can get him to figure, I don't think the Rugrats have some spectacular players, but spectacular on their day and spectacular in their own way. So I think the androids are gonna claim that one.
Okay, I will also say androids, not just because of 17. I would say actually Cell, because the Rugrats are quite melee heavy. Cell is also quite good at doing melee because one, he has transformations, and two, he has a grab which gives him health.
Yeah.
Which I think has not helped the Rugrats in the past, and I'm not sure it will help him in this match either. So androids for me as well. This match is... It's... Okay, this is pretty tight, so you might want to think hard about this one.
All right.
Muscle versus DB Warriors.
Well, you know, if we go by last season...
Exactly.
The match I bet like 10 million squee points on
I
it.
know!
Everything.
Are we still calling those squee points?
Well, SP I think is what we started going instead. But I know it just annoys you, so.
Well, I actually was like, come on, guys, let's vote for this. Let's make it something else. And everyone's like, squee points. I was like, I'm betting me points. I do like being able to say me points. That's cool, but still. Oh, gosh. You know what? I hate to say this, but I think that last season's win was not a fluke,
It was
but
a
a
fluke.
1 in 1,000 chance.
It was 1 in a million.
And I think
I don't think it was a fluke, but it was a fluke.
yeah. I mean, I think that DB Warriors will do better this season, but I don't think they're going to be beating Muscle anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Muscle. Prove me wrong, please. I'll be very happy. Oh my god, and imagine how scared Muscle would be ever facing them again if they got
Yeah.
beat twice in a row.
I'll go with Muscle as well. I don't see DB Warriors being able to pull out.
I don't think many teams are actually going to beat Muscle this season, so I'll go with Muscle as well.
Okay.
Next match, Blades versus Margin.
Ooh. I'm going to go with Majin on that, simply because I think they're a stronger overall team. Of course, Blades, if Tapion decides to play... If Tapion decides to play, he could pretty much take out Majins on his own. But no, I think Majins are going to be the overall stronger team.
Yeah.
Rebel, you're always after Squee, right? You need to understand this order that we've done for the last 10 games. You
Oh, sorry. I'm
next
not
after
sorry.
Squee.
Not paying attention. Da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Jesus Christ. Sometimes.
I'm sorry. You can't vouch for my competence. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go with Blades on this one.
Ooh.
I think
Why?
Blades. I don't know. Hunch. I think Blades have. Bobbity came in on the margins, and I'm not convinced as his brilliance. The margins have also been temperamental in the past, and it's kind of like two teams that are decent all the time but temperamental quite a lot of the time up against each other. So I'm gonna go on a hunch and say Blades.
I wouldn't say that you're faulty there. I think it's going to be a close match.
Yeah, I think regardless it'll be a close match.
Well, what I would kind of do is just compare again the 5th characters. But I think that the first 4 characters of Margin will be good enough to deal with Blades, and I think Bobbity will be able to hold his own enough so that Margin will probably win that.
Hey, who knows? Maybe Bobbity will do some grabs in his ultimate.
Sparta would
That would
probably
be pretty
just,
awesome.
Oh no,
Yeah.
maybe Spopovich will do his ultimate, and then Bobbity will do some grabs in his
Oh,
ultimate and just
yeah.
kill someone in one shot.
just manage
would
to
be
kill the
so
entire team and break the game.
In case you guys don't know, Bobbity's ultimate, because if you know Bobbity from the show, he used that little vase to gather energy from people, and his ultimate is basically unleashing that vase at people. So if he grabs you, he sucks in some of your energy into the vase, and it makes, every time he does that, it makes his ultimate more powerful if it hits. And Spopovich is in a nice mechanic. His ultimate does the exact same thing. It sucks away your energy with that vase. So if Spopovich does his ultimate and then Bobbity does his ultimate, you're talking 30 to 40,000 points of damage right there.
It's almost
That's
kind of a waste that you can't
reasonable
use it on
amount.
more than one character.
It's only happened once in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it is
man,
beautiful.
everyone remembers that match.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Everyone does. Okay, so Valkyries versus Ginyu Forces next.
Oh gosh, that brings back memories, because I know that was the Valkyries' first win ever was against the Ginyu Force.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, maybe
I don't
it
think
was
Ginyu
Muscle.
Forces very well in season
Still.
1, did they?
No,
No.
they weren't. But still,
They were like us.
it brings back memories. I'm going to take the Vals, because I think the Vals are going to be a really strong team this season. I think with the Rayleigh, I think Zengai is decent middle of the road. If they can figure out, how to get her trap shooter and her stun B1 working, I think she'll be a pretty decent middle of the road character. And I think that every season, Rayleigh's gotten stronger, 18's gotten better. Videl, I mean, the leagues of improvement Videl has made since season 1 has been outstanding. I think they're going to be a really strong team this season. So,
I
Vals.
agree. I don't think the Ginyu Force have had as much experience building a team and have as much knowledge, I don't think. You know, if all of the things being equal, I'd probably have had to put my money on the Ginyu Force. Just because of the versatility of that team is insane. You know, just between Berta, Jason, Raccoon, the versatility is massive.
Melee, spam, and speed.
Yeah. But just due to the team that they've got behind them, I honestly think the Vals have that one.
That is a good thing to point out, is that you know, a lot of teams, you know, they have the coach will say something and everyone will go, yeah, that's good, let's do that. You look at the Vals thread, it's a war zone in there.
Yeah.
And the bright side of that is that it tends to produce, I mean, only the best builds survive, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely
Survival of the fittest. Oh my
Yes.
god, that's weird.
I mean, I feel sorry for some of the builds in there because they're going to get torn apart like lambs fed to lions.
Yeah.
What did you do that for? Yeah, I'd say Valkyries as well. Basically, I mean, you got Zingaya, who they've had before as well. They've had Zingaya before, and she's gone to the minors, so she's had like plenty of experience to be built and keeping on. Whereas Ginyu Goldo is their 5th character.
Yeah.
So yeah, Valkyries.
And you have to remember Captain Ginyu as well.
Yeah.
Do we? I mean, was he ever really impressive last season?
That's my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my point.
Yeah.
So squee. Let's ignore it.
But I was asking, like, do we even have to remember him? Can't we just kind of... I mean, he had his moments. He wasn't a horrible character. He wasn't, trying to think of a really horrible character. But he wasn't one of those.
He wasn't like Team Gohan.
Oh, yeah. But he was never very impressive.
No. But he looked like he might be.
Honestly, I think that this season, Raccoon, Jason, Birder are going to carry Ginyu.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
So there are 2 teams we haven't mentioned. Do you know who they might be, you two?
No.
Nope, no idea.
Not paying
Cold and Earth Defenders.
Oh.
Oh, really? They're in this? Oh, how interesting.
I'm going to put you there.
You know what? I'm going to say Cold.
Okay.
For 2 reasons. One, I mean, Cold's a really strong team.
Don't patronize me.
And 2, I'm going to say Cold simply because Earth Defenders, my team, were concentrating much more on individual builds and not overall team cohesion. So right now we're not worried about, you know, constantly you have to worry about, does this build complement this build, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is this team really built to win? No. Our teams aren't going to be built to win. We're going to be trying a bunch of experimental stuff, so we're not going to be at our best. And being not at your best, even at your best against Team Cold is an iffy proposition. So I'm going to give that to Team Cold, actually.
We don't appreciate the gesture, but well done. Well done.
And see, that's called fair journalism. All right,
We can do
not
it
just
here.
choosing my team because it's my team.
You don't do fair journalism.
That's true.
There's always an agenda. Sorry. Cynicism going there. I can't actually argue, unfortunately, with any of the points Squee put forward. So yeah, I'm gonna have to sit with my team on this one.
I would also sit with Cold, but for a different reason, actually.
It's because he loves me.
It's because I love Rebel.
Yeah.
It's because of Supernova.
Well, actually, it's because you got Nightmare as a new coach, and any new coach wants to win.
Yeah.
And so in his build, he won't be. I am assuming, of course, what he's going to be like. But I don't think if I was him, I would be doing just experimental builds. I would be doing builds to win, so I would get my confidence up.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be building more to beat Earth Defenders than to test his own team. So that's what I
Yes,
think.
because when you're trying to build up confidence, Earth Defenders are really a prime target.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
They would definitely.
If we can beat Earth Defenders, we can beat the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so that's week
2.
Yeah, week 2 done.
Woo! Halfway there.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this before we get
All right, hang on. So week 3.
Go on, he's got it up now. Okay. Derp
Failure.
versus Cold.
Cold's
Ooh.
gonna win.
Order.
Rebel, you're
I've never
awful.
paid attention to the order before. What do you expect from me?
Cold's gonna win.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't want it to sound like I don't have faith in Derp, but I don't have faith in Derp. No. But I'm sorry. I don't think Derp's on the same level as Cold right now.
You see, what it actually is you've remembered something vitally important, is that Seriac is my advisor to agents, and so he will not go against me.
Yeah, you will. I've seen your advisors. They all go against you.
Shut up.
Squee, we didn't
Honestly,
talk about
I
that
think
outside of the thing.
I think that if they could have every single council session where you're in one of those things like where your head and hands stick through one end and you're just kind of on the other
Yeah.
side, I think you'd be in there constantly with your
Yeah.
crown.
Oh yeah. I'm just expecting, and I might. And actually, no. Let's just carry on. I had an idea.
So I'm assuming you're choosing Cold, Rebel.
Yes. No,
So I put you
yeah,
down
yeah.
for Derp.
So HJK.
I would choose Cold as well. Yes. So the next match, Blades versus Super Saiyans.
Ooh.
It's actually an interesting one.
I think so, because I think, okay, here's the truth. I don't think Super Saiyans are going to advance in strength all that much during the preseason, because I think you guys have pretty much got your team figured out. You still got some kinks to work out. You've got a new player to kind of mess around with. But I think that what we're going to see in week 1 and week 2 of the preseason is going to be representative of what we'll see throughout 3 and 4 and maybe even the main season. I think the Blades, however, are going to be one of those teams that each week they're going to get a little better and a little better. So I'm actually going to take Blades.
You don't want to say it, see? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I'm going to take Blades for this one.
Okay, Rebel.
I actually think the Super Saiyans are going to take this one.
Why? You have to give a reason.
No, I don't. But for a reason. I think the Super Saiyans are intrinsically a better team, and I don't think that the Blades are going to get over the unreliability of their team that quickly, especially not when it's a preseason game. When you're looking to try and test things out, and looking to really experiment with new players, especially with those 2 new players that are going to be at the higher level for, maybe not the first time, but I don't know, against a team that's vaguely decent, early in the season. I think they're going to struggle.
I'd agree with everything you said, apart from one thing. You know what I was saying earlier about, Nightmare wanting to win rather than
Yeah.
test? We do that all the time. We always build to win. We're like children.
So you're going to agree with the part he said about your team being vaguely decent?
Yeah, I am.
Hello.
Because we won the Super Bowl. So
I'm just saying, because you said you agree with all of it. And
I do. I agree with all of it. Oh, fuck. I hate it when you press enter and don't realise and the entire thing goes down 3 pages. Okay.
Yeah.
Third match, Gohans versus DB Warriors.
Ooh. I'm going to take... Oh, man. I'm going to take Gohan's. I think Team Gohan's going to impress them. Is going to impress. I think the Gohans are going to finally come into their own this season. I don't expect them to be an elite team, but I at least expect them to hit the playoffs. I honestly will say that I don't expect the Gohans to be in South Kai Division next season. I kind of expect Dragon Ball Warriors to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a dick thing to say, Squee.
I got to be truthful. I think that most of the team fans are mature enough to understand this, but it's not that we're being mean to any team. We're just being very honest in our assessment.
And by all means, prove us wrong.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I will. I will. If Dragon Ball Warriors beats the crap out of everyone and goes into North Kai next season, I will personally go to your thread and apologize. I kid you not.
I won't. I'll sit there and laugh at you. But
I'm not going to. I don't apologise.
Rebel, no one wants an apology from you anyway, so...
No, I know. Exactly. I don't go where I'm not wanted. Unless I take it. In which case I go for
Well,
noise.
hang on. I seem to recall a Shogun 2 LP. You kept going everywhere you weren't wanted.
Actually, I kept going everywhere I wasn't wanted by a cruel and incompetent and foreign dictator. and I imposed a truthful and competent and honest and incredibly good-looking British
Oh, nice.
held rulership.
Does
You're
he
just flattering-
does he
you're just flattering
always
me now,
talk about
Aaron,
Dantos
thanks
like
for
that?
No, it's supposed to be
I didn't know you had such
I
strong
was about to
feelings
say-
for him.
Dantos? Dantos doesn't exist here.
All right, so Gohan versus DB Warriors, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebel.
Gohans. I think the Gohans, much like the Super Saiyans, are a reasonably strong team, and they will do.
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Gohan's just like the Super Saiyans. I don't quite agree with
No, I
that.
think that's legit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Why do I even
there's got
bother?
because just for the simple reason that they're intrinsically stronger, I think, and because both of those teams should be doing a lot of testing and looking at what they can build their team around. I think the intrinsically betterness of the Gohans will show itself there.
I would say Gohan's star players more than... I don't really know who you would classify as DB Warriors star player, actually. I'm not saying they're all awful. I'm just saying I don't know them well enough. But I would
Probably
say
consistently Nam.
Actually, yeah, I forgot about Nam. But I mean, you got Ultimate Gohan, Gohans, who I think would probably be able to deal with most of the team DB Warriors on his day. And then of course got Team Gohan, so you can't really, put this out of Gohan's reach. So I'll go with Gohan's as well.
I just want to ask: is intrinsic betterness a scientific term?
It's one of Rebel's terms, so
We have
answer the
discovered that the intrinsic betterness of this quality. So what's the next match?
Androids versus
I'm a physicist. I do these specifics.
Who are we up against? Androids versus who?
Margin.
Ooh. I'm gonna go... I'm gonna go Majin. Again, simply because I think they're the better overall team. I don't have anything I can point to and say this is going to be it, this is why. Just that I think overall Majins will win.
Okay.
Okay. I think on their day either team could beat the other team, but on a reasonably assumed day, not a DB Warriors beating Muscle, on their day type thing. But on a decent day for either of them, they are pretty evenly matched. I think I'll go for androids.
I was meant to be the one with the.
You don't have differing opinions, HK. You just go with
Differing
whichever one of us suits you better.
That's because I'm the last pick. I have to.
Exactly.
Don't blame the pick.
I was going to go with androids as well, mainly
Yeah.
because I would expect
Because
Margin
I
to
went
be.
for them.
Sorry, I can't hear you. But I can see your picture flashing. Can't you? Yeah, I think Margin's going to be more testing for experimental builds in this match, and I think androids could probably pull it out. So I'm going to go with androids.
Wow, in week 3? I mean, I would think that week 3 and especially week 4, people are going to start trying to stop experimenting and start testing out their build, like their main build.
I don't think they will. I think using the entirety of the preseason properly is to its fullest extent.
I agree. That's what should
yeah.
happen. I'm just saying human nature is going to want to... I would think that human nature would say, towards week 3 and week 4, we're going to start testing out what we really want.
Yeah, solidifying what we
Right.
do.
Yeah, I don't know. We shall see on that prediction.
Now, this is quite an interesting match. You got Valkyries versus Muscle.
Ooh. I'm going to go Vals.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go with that.
I'm going to go Vals simply because I really do believe they're going to be a strong team this season. And because they're going to have all 5. If they had all 4, let's say, and they had didn't have 18 or a Rayleigh or something like that, because I don't think Vidal's going to stand up to Team Muscle at all. As much as she's improved, I don't think she's going to do much. I don't think Zengaya is going to do much. But I think a Rayleigh, Fasha, and 18 will win enough that those two can eke out a victory. I really do.
Okay. I don't know. In a week that I wouldn't consider everybody will be testing, or everybody should be testing stuff, and I think the Vals almost certainly will be. If it wasn't one of those weeks, I'd probably pick the Vals just because they've had the ability seemingly to pull off some amazing wins and some amazing fights against people in the past. So on any other match day, I probably would go for the Vals, but in this one, I think I'm going to have to say Muscle.
Okay, Muscle. I would probably go for the Vals as well, actually, because
I chose
Muscles. Shut up! I hate Barry. I hate you. I hate my
Hey, Squeak,
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
You'll go one. I'll go the opposite.
So
one.
everyone
And then
listening
HCK
to
squad.
some
Got it.
reason and sense, I'm going to go with Valkyries because Muscle's new characters, well, newish, Garlic Jr. and Master Roshi, I think could probably be beaten by what's them called, Videl and Zengaya.
What's it called? I'm voting for this team. I don't really know what they do, but
Ooh, I don't know. That's asking a lot from Zengaya. Maybe Videl.
I think she could. She might have done really well in the minors.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with you. I'm just saying.
Why are you saying that, AJK? That'd be stupid.
It's like, never mind. HJK said I'm changing my vote.
Valkyries for me, then. Next one is Rugrats versus Namek.
Oh man.
These all kind of make you think, all these matches. apart
It
from-
does. It does.
Some of them,
These
yeah.
close ones, because I think this is going to be a close one. It all depends on just how powerful Tambourine and Demon King
Actually,
Piccolo are.
yeah.
Because you don't, when you first think Rugrats, you don't. It's very easy to overlook just how powerful the Rugrats can be.
Yeah.
They really can be a top tier team with a little bit of work and a little bit of effort, and plus they're adding Cybermen, which are not weak players.
yeah.
So you have Cybermen, you have Garlic Jr. I mean, not Garlic Jr. You have Cybermen, you have Cell Jr. Oh man, which are like always in your face and always
Yeah.
hitting it. They don't stop, and you ask them to, and they don't stop, and you say,
And they
"Come on,
don't
man, my
listen.
nose is bleeding," and they don't care.
You've heard
I
some-
honestly think Rugrats will probably pull that one out.
Okay. So,
I'm actually gonna go for the. I'm actually gonna go for Namek on this one. I think HCK just wants one of us wants us to agree once so that he can go for something different.
And then we'll just accuse him of wanting to be different.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think Namek will take this one. I think it's about time Namek actually started doing much better, and I think in this match is probably their best chance to really do that. They've got a stronger setup, and I think, I think I'll put my backing behind them.
So their best chance isn't during the normal season. This is going to be their moment to shine, and then it's all downhill from there.
when the Rugrats should be testing, and the Rugrats are gonna suck, and then Namek are gonna go, yeah, we've won, and they'll sit back for the rest.
So basically, it's going to be they're absolutely amazing during the preseason and not that great during the regular season, like Cooler, really.
I was gonna say exactly. Taking out like entire teams on his own, and then in the main season, just you expect me to do this as a full-time job? Piss off.
I earned my paycheck.
Yeah. Bastard.
I'm gonna go with Namek as well. Basically, on this, I don't know how good Tambourine's going to be, so I'm going to assume for this one he's going to be good. And if Tambourine is as good as I've heard, he should probably be the Rugrats. I think the rest of the team can go toe to toe with the rest of Rugrats. So if Tambourine really is as good as I've heard, he shouldn't really be much of a problem in dealing with them. So yeah, I'm going for Namek. Boo versus Ginyu Force is next.
I'm going to go Boo. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, you guys do remember that Rugrats have the they no longer have to use Broly's ring because we can turn transformations off.
Yes.
Yeah, just making sure. I'm still gonna go Boo because I like the Ginyu Force, but do I have to list my reasons for Boo again?
Yeah.
Okay, Kid Boo, Super Boo, Evil Boo, Majin Boo, Oob.
Love how Oops tacked on at the end. I'm here too.
Yeah, because I really don't know if Oob's gonna be any good.
Um,
I'm sorry. Maybe I should make the Cliff Notes version. Kid Boo.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for that one reason, Boo. Boo's gonna win.
Okay. Boo, boo. I'm gonna go with Guinea. No, I'm gonna go with Boo as well.
I waited for this.
So long. No, I'm gonna go with Boo as well. I don't see
Sorry,
Guinea Force
Ginyu.
being as good
Sorry,
as
Ginyu,
Boo.
but you suck. I mean,
Sorry, Guinea, but you're just not good enough. Okay,
Yeah,
so Saiyans
yeah.
versus Earth Defenders is next.
I'm gonna go Earth Defenders. I really do, and I'm not just showing the team pride here. I really do think that my
Actually,
team
that's tough.
has got. Okay, here's what I've seen. My team has gotten consistently better every season. A better win-loss record, better players, etc., etc. Saiyans are getting lower, and I think that this is where we pass each other on the road of life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Saints. Partly because it's going against Squee, partly because it irritates HJK, and partly because I genuinely think they do have a strong setup. I think, especially people, you can sort of underestimate turning ape, but against some teams, it has its definite advantages, and I think against Earth Defenders, it's actually one of those teams, depending on how the actual game pans out. But no, I'm going to give this one to the Saints.
It really does depend on whether or not they build for experimental build or actual
It does, yeah.
winning build for this one. I mean, they're fighting at Earth Defenders, so they're not all
Oh,
gonna
no!
go-
Actually, we're reversing all of those.
What?
Basically, because and this is something I just thought of yesterday. We don't want, for example, I don't want the Saiyans to have to fight at Earth Defenders and then at Earth Defenders again.
Oh, right, so we're reversing them for the preseason. Okay,
Right,
fine.
so for the preseason, we're actually reversing, so it's going to be like Earth Defenders at Saiyans. And then in the
Oh.
main season, it'll be Saiyans at Earth Defenders.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, they probably... I don't remember where they fight, but they probably could all go ape then.
Saiyans,
No, they can't. Not on that map.
No, yeah, we don't allow them to. We don't allow
Oh,
them to.
okay.
Saiyans go rocky
deserts.
area. What?
Yeah, it's the desert one.
Yeah.
The desert.
And we don't allow them to use the full moon for just that reason. It is possible they could destroy the world, and then all of them could go ape.
But that could happen on most maps anyway.
Right.
So.
Thing is, I think the only thing that could destroy the world is Goku's Spirit Bomb, and if he uses that, then Earth Defenders have won, really.
Well, also, we don't usually
How's
use
that?
Goku in his base state, so
Could revert.
he could. And if he used Spirit Bomb after reverting, we'd all be very happy, but we just don't see that happening.
Yeah, well done. You're starting in Super Saiyan next match, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now turn back.
Form. It gets really hot and people stare at me. Sorry. What?
I would
Okay.
go with Saiyans as well, because I
Yeah.
think Saiyans could out-muscle... Well, I think Nappa could out-muscle Chaozu, to be honest. If I'm comparing fifth players, I think Muscle would beat Chaozu. And then I think if it goes... it's very close.
What are you talking about? Have you seen the show? Man, that Pokemon, bam,
Pokemon,
just
yeah,
owned
exploded
him.
and just got rid of his
And-
armor. That's what it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? That armor was effed up. All right, that's all I'm saying. He
has to
never
pay
wore
for
that
a
armor
new
again.
set.
He
But he would've.
never wore that armor again. That's how badly it was messed up. Well, that and Goku killed him. But
it
still,
cost Chaozu his life, but it's worth it.
you know,
Every penny.
sacrifices.
Exactly. Okay, so that's the third week done. Week 4, Blades versus Valkyries.
Yikes. I hate to go against my team, but I'm gonna have to say Blades. We have to say Blades because I'm expecting Tapion to have at least one really good match during the preseason, and I'm expecting Sword Trunks to have, I'm expecting at least one match in the preseason for that team to gel because, Tapion can be Tapion, Sword Trunks can be very impressive, and if those two happen to catch in the right match, and for some reason I feel like it'll be this one, I think they're going to take out Vals.
Oh, I think Val's are the better team, more consistent, and that sort of melee and pressure heavy works really well against teams like the Blades, at least to my mind. So I think the Vals are going to take that one.
Okay, Valkyries for Rebel. I don't
HJK
know.
still doesn't have an opinion of his own.
I actually don't have an opinion. That's the problem. I'm trying to think.
Actually, I was going to say almost the opposite, that Tapion's really good at keeping people out of his face. He's got two moves that are instantaneous, low cost, and he loves to use them. And it's like kryptonite for melee characters. But, like I said, it all depends on how good of a match he's having.
It depends on how good of a match he's having. It also depends on his accuracy.
Right.
With them, because they're not, with even just like an after image, that you have a pretty decent chance of actually dodging them.
It's not like 17's move that for some reason no one knows how to
Always
dodge.
seems to connect, yeah.
I know.
I'm probably going to
Stupid
go with
17.
Blades. Because am I right in saying they have both towels?
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think, didn't they nearly win the minor league when they were a team?
pretty much.
Yeah, so they do pretty well.
And the funny part is we just threw them in there as a joke team because we needed an extra team.
Exactly.
Started schooling
Yeah, I remember
everyone.
that,
We're
yeah.
like, we'll throw them in there and call them the generals. Ha ha ha! Oh my god!
They're so
Someone stop them!
They're pissed at being second rate.
But I mean, you haven't really heard much from Zengaya from the minor league. I'm sure she's done fine, but I don't think she's not.
No,
that's
she
the
she
generals.
let's put it this way. Pan was one of the stronger members of the team for Fallen Angels in Zarbon. Zengaya was kind of always a disappointment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, in that case.
but-
I mean, it
but-
could change. I also think though
yeah.
the Valkyries for this week will probably die it down a bit. They won't go with anything major. They'll probably just be looking at different things they could add to their players. And they won't be looking to win.
There's
this last
also
week of the
something to
break.
think about is that maybe some teams don't want to play their hand per se, and we'll be doing because I could see some teams trying to be sneaky, because every single one of us knows that if I'm facing, say, Team Derp in week 1, I'm going to be looking at Team Derp's preseason week 4 really hard.
Yeah.
And it could be an interesting thing to just season 4 just do a completely experimental build so that you don't give them a clue.
Yeah. That'd be pretty fun actually.
Could be interesting.
Yeah, so I go with Blades. Second match, Muscle versus Saiyans.
Muscle. You know what? No, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Muscle. I was gonna go Saiyans for a little bit because I do expect Saiyans to be a strong team. I don't expect them to be really bad, but it's Muscle. Yeah, I think 13 and Broly and even Garlic Jr. They're just gonna eke out a victory out of that one.
Don't forget Bojack. Will you people stop forgetting Bojack? Jesus.
He's impressive sometimes.
He's...
Yeah, it's okay. Towards the end of season 3, it was like every match.
Yeah.
It was almost you fearing him more than you're fearing 13.
Yeah, pretty much. It was funny.
Oh,
I
God.
loved it. We were
But he's
doing-
got problems with consistency though.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to run through one of the matches in my head. I honestly don't know with that one. I think Muscle's probably got the edge, so I'd have to. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to throw my lot in with Muscle, I'm afraid. I think the Saiyans have a decent chance of winning, but I don't think they've quite got it just yet.
Here's your
But
chance,
again, this
HJK.
is-
Take it.
Crash and burn, HDK. Crash and burn.
It's funny because I didn't even remember that joke. I was like, yeah, I'll go with Muscle as well. And then you said it, it's like, actually, I want the Saiyans now. I want my money though, so I'm gonna go with muscle. Because I don't think I think Saiyans, unless they pull something really good
Yeah.
out of the bag in the first few weeks, they will not progress far enough to beat muscle.
Yeah, I honestly think that if you bet on muscle every week, you're going to end up making more money than losing.
Mm.
Probably. Oh, muscle.
Third match, Rugrats versus Gohans. Now, isn't
That's
that
nice.
interesting?
Ooh, I'm going to go Gohans. I'm going to say Gohans will take out the Rugrats. Because super explosive wave. Think about it. If they play their cards right, super explosive wave is amazing versus a bunch of rushing. Because you rush right into it. And we've all seen it happen time and time and time again. No, I mean, not just for that reason. I think that Gohans will just, not dominate, but win handily.
Rugrats.
Rebel is with Rugrats.
I actually think that the way the Rugrats team operates is a decent enough counter to the way the Gohans might operate. That the Rugrats probably will take home, but it's going to be one of those games that I think will probably come down to the last bar of the last characters.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was gonna go with Rugrats. I probably still will because I think. I can only speak for Team Gohan really. He does not cope well if he's being constantly attacked.
No.
He doesn't have a good defense, especially in Super Saiyan 2. So if the Gohans fall into that trap, I think Rugrats have a very good chance. So I'm going to go with Rugrats for that one.
Welcome, HJK.
We
So
have
here,
cookies.
True.
And the next match is Cold versus Namek.
Hi.
Okay.
Oh
Rebel,
man.
Namek.
Can you answer a question? Do they use supernova a lot?
Which? Namek?
No. Cold. I really, really, really want to pick Namek. I really do.
Then pick Namek, Squee.
But I just don't think they're gonna win.
This one.
I want them to win. I just don't think they're gonna. So I'm gonna go Cold.
Yep. As much as it pains me to say it, I think Squee may actually be right.
Yes, the pain I can tell in your voice.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go Cold on this one.
Okay, Cold.
You've gone Cold on everyone.
It's funny because Cold is actually the one that we've all predicted would win
Yeah.
every single week.
Full agreed. They're Cold. Hello.
I'm going to go with Namek. So I'll be on my own.
You are,
Thank
Joe.
God.
Now I will say this though, that I think that, and of course it's too early to really tell, but I think that when Namek and Cold meet in the real season, it might be a very different story.
Oh yeah. No,
You know,
I'll
in
probably go
week
with Cold.
16 or 15, yeah.
Actually, saying that, I mean, if they get late Piccolo to work at the same time.
Oh man, if they manage to finally make a way to that for that Halo to work all the time.
No, I don't think they'll do it now though.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I think
I forgot
they'll-
about late Piccolo. That guy was a beast last season.
He was alright, wasn't he?
Oh, all right. Dude was pumping out 10,000 points of damage every time you blinked at him. And yet they still lost all the time. What happened?
I think they lack the team cohesion at this point to
I
beat
think
Cold.
so. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Cold this one.
Hooray! HJK's seen the light.
Next is Super Saiyans versus Ginyu.
Ginyu's got this one, hands down.
And
No.
next again, Rebel
I
Saiyans.
actually think that Super Saiyans will take this one.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Ginyu is a great middle of the road team, but Super Saiyans will take it.
Yeah, I don't. Super Saiyans have the chance.
I hope we do. So I'm going to put my money on them. Next match is Boo versus Derp. So you think long and hard about this one because we know this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Just watch Supreme Kai takes the entire team out.
I'm sorry, but I was gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say Derp because I'm gonna just once. I'm gonna say Boo's gonna go down, but I don't see that happening.
I think Boo is the only other team that we all predicted would
Trying
win.
to be honest here, and I don't
Yeah.
think Derp is taking Boo down. Sorry.
No. No, I don't see. I don't see Dip winning that one. Really don't.
I'm trying to think of an excuse to give it to Dub.
Yeah, I know, right? Me
Yeah, so
too.
was I. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to go Boos as well. Sorry, Derp. Next is Margin versus Earth Defenders.
You know, Majin and Earth Defenders have always had really interesting matches. And I think that last season they beat us pretty soundly, but other than that, it's always been very close, or we won, or whatever. I think we're going to win. I think I'm going Earth Defenders. I really do think that my team is strong enough to be a contender this season.
Wow. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm going with Margins. I think Margins are a stronger team. Just basically stronger.
I am gonna go with Earth Defenders.
Yeah!
Basing on the laws of
Suck it, Rebel!
consistent. Yeah, I know you just desire to have me on your side. I know, but the laws of consistency.
It's just
Tien-
so lonely.
Tien has to do well in one of these weeks. And I
He is
think he will-
consistent in the fact that sometimes he does well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Chaozu would probably be able to beat Bobbity as well. So if Earth Defenders can hold their own against the rest of Margin, I think they have a good chance at winning if it comes down to Chaozu versus Bobbity. So I'm going to go with Earth Defenders.
Yeah.
And then the final match of the preseason. This will come down to this. Dragon Ball Warriors versus Androids.
I'm gonna take androids mostly because of their survivability factor. Cell's transformations, 20's life-stealing grabs, I think it's just gonna outlast Dragon Ball Warriors. Though,
Yeah.
the problem is, the reason why this is hard to choose is because I fully expect their fifth player to change by the fourth week of the preseason.
Yeah.
So it's hard to gauge. Unless Grandpa Gohan's amazing tonight, which I don't see. I fully expect that by the fourth week of the preseason, we'll see Transform Pilaf or Yajirobe or something like that. Now, if Yajirobe's in there, oh my god, and we have another Yajirobe versus Cell,
God,
that
please
would be
don't.
amazing. No, but I think androids are just going to outlast them.
Okay.
I would even go so far as saying that they might have similar damage levels. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, androids are going to win.
Rebel.
I can see. I know. I'm thinking. Leave me alone. It takes me some time. God.
Rebel, stop complaining and just answer. No.
This is a pretty difficult one to call. Not just because of Dragon Ball Warriors changing things up, which they probably will do and probably should do. It's more that early Goku, Devilman. Yeah, I don't. Those Devilman has a great chance against androids if he throws his ultimate out. Then evil characters, la da da da. He has a chance. Early Goku and Spirit Bomb again. There's that kind of chance there. Whereas androids have that really sort of war of attrition style of play where they'll take some damage. They'll take a couple of hits. They'll deal their own, and then they'll get that back somehow.
And then they'll get
Do it
just
again.
Dende's healing to get just enough to the yellow bar and then tag out. It's back.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give this one to the androids just because I think they have a stronger team. Again, stronger team intrinsically. It's your last chance to be different, H-Stick. It's your last chance to make your mark.
I'm just checking to see if I was different in any of the other ones. Because it is actually going to decide whether or not I pick Dragon Ball Warriors or not.
You have been our bitch for.
You know what?
I'm gonna
That's
go
it.
Dragon Ball Warriors.
You know what? That's it. We're gonna have to every week when we do this, we're gonna have to rotate who's the bitch.
Well, no, you know what'll happen.
Rebels next.
No, you know what'll happen. We'll rotate it out, and yet somehow HJK will still be the bitch.
Yeah, you'll
Well, I
draw
just wanted.
lots of
You guys didn't let me finish though. We're gonna rotate it between you two.
Oh. By rotate, you mean randomly. So it'll basically be a flip of the coin, and it'll always be me.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
what you really mean, isn't it?
Man, we got a regular Sherlock Holmes over here.
HJK's profile. Where's the edit button?
Yeah, I never knew that's what HJK stood for. Unusual acronyms to choose.
HJK's title, the bitch. I really want to do that now.
Well, I know a bunch of aliens in XCOM that keep trying to make it so.
Yeah.
Let me heal you. Oh look, you're back down to 1 point of health. That was great. 1 point of health. Heal. 1 point of health. Maybe you should leave.
See ya. I'm just like dragging with one arm.
I'll see you
I can
guys
still lift
back
my
at
leg.
base. I know where the med bay is.
Oh, HJK, look under your profile picture. Isn't that pretty?
Technically, this is illegal.
I can't see anything
I
because
can't
I'm
see anything.
recording.
Go go to somewhere where he's made a post.
Oh, I can't because I'm in full... in any case, maybe we should end this Zcast. I'm going to actually try and get this up before tonight, so... Hopefully a lot of you guys are watching this before the first week of the preseason. Hopefully a lot of you guys are very excited for the preseason and this upcoming season. And hopefully I'll never be the bitch. All right, everyone. Say goodbye.
No.
Actually, wait. This is your show. You do this. I don't know. Why am I always having to do this?
Right, bugger off the lot of you. Go do something productive.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.